last we left off, you all finished the dungeon, and were led. I have to yawn. We're led to the city of Seoul, a new experience for most everybody involved. And
through some planar transportation.
Something for Otto, as is whenever you traveled through, the man known as Garmin pulled out a cube and threw it down, which activated a gate that everyone went through, and it was 100% technology with no magic behind it whatsoever. You all came to the city of Seoul and were led to a very large and somewhat extravagant mansion where you enjoyed a nice dinner where you all discovered that A, Jubilee's actual name is Julie, B,
Julie Ackerman.
She is an Ackerman, which for the people who are native to Aria would know that the Ackermans have a certain amount of words about them. Not necessarily positive, but everyone knows that they are both powerful and wealthy. And thirdly, Jubilee actually abandoned her family on the day of her wedding and ran away. So. And we last left off with Senate Ackerman asking Jubilee, "Do you think you're better than this family?"
Jubilee takes a deep breath and sighs. It's not a matter of being better or not.
Then what is it?
I don't want to be responsible for all the misery that's happened. I've already caused enough of it.
Yes, this is why I've made preparations to make it to where we will no longer be fighting against our rivals. Something I thought you would like.
But I really have to... And this was the only way to do it?
It is the only way that I can ensure peace. It is the only way that it will guarantee that we and they do not fight, because then we will technically be one big family, begrudgingly. I do not want you to marry him, to be frank. I think them lowlives. I do not like them. They have been a thorn in this family's side for far too long. But on the day that you came to me, tears in your eyes, and you explained to me that in an altercation against this rival family, you accidentally set fire to a building, I made preparations then and there to ensure that it would not happen again. And then, on the day that the treaty of peace would have been made by you marrying him, she says, referring to Darius, she's never liked him. She's never liked that family at all. You see her grip tightening a little bit on her glass of wine, and she looks at you and goes, "You are nowhere to be found."
I admit, I did not handle it the best way I could.
No, you didn't.
But I was not about to give up my freedom for a business transition.
I wasn't going to make you give anything up. I wouldn't care if you were married in name only. The only thing I wanted from you was to show up in a white dress, say I do, and go about your life. I don't care if you treated it like a real marriage. I didn't care if you treated it like it wasn't anything except your names written on a piece of paper. But it was the only thing that I needed you to do for this family to ensure peace between us. Do you understand how rocky the relationship between our families became after you abandoned us? Left to parade through the countries, performing and treating yourself like a common whore? Yes, I am aware of your one night stands. I had someone keeping an eye on you, making sure that you stayed safe, ensuring that there was always coin in your pocket for you to lay your head in bed if you didn't make enough. I assumed you would have come back eventually once you got it out of your system. And yet, with each passing week, you made it farther and farther away. You didn't even hesitate. You never looked back. You never even sent me a letter until you told me that you're dating another drow. And at this, you hear the glass shatter, with the wine spilling to the carpet and blood training down her arm. And she's watching you very closely and go, and it's like you're mocking me.
Trust me when I say mocking you is the furthest thing from my mind.
Then why, gods, why? Out of everyone you could have picked as another suitor, did you pick another drow, another elf of all things?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I see him as an individual person, not by whatever race they are, Mother.
I don't care about people's race most of the time. But whenever it is a race connected to the family with whom we are rivals, how do you think they are going to like it that you picked that man over his son? Because I can assure you, it will not go over well.
What if a higher power were involved that they wouldn't dare cross?
Julie, what power do you think we cannot swindle or pay our way out of? By the gods, both we and they have paid Broxton, or at least the new one, to turn a blind eye to our organization mischief. How much do you think it cost for me to bribe Broxton and the authorities to let you off with not even so much as coming to this house and dragging you to jail for setting fire to a building? I paid a large sum of money to ensure that nothing befell you that day.
And I
So,
do appreciate that.
what do you think can try to sway mine and their opinion?
Drow royalty?
Whoop-de-doo. I respect royalty. I really do. But the unfortunate thing is, they are not a royal here. I will treat them as royalty. I will treat her like the fair princess I assume she is. And I don't care if she's Lunarian. She's not a royal of Solaria. She is not a noble in Solaria. Her bloodline means nothing here. Except people will be in awe that a princess is visiting. And, quite frankly, her being a Lunarian will cause a few people to dislike her simply because they remember the previous years when we were at war with them. Or did you forget the stories that I've told you? She says, and finally she begins unclenching her hands and starts picking pieces of glass from them. I have nothing against your friend, and I will respect the princess for as long as she stays in my manor. I, quite frankly, do believe in showing respect to nobility to a degree, and to royalty. But the problem remains that her political power means nothing in this country.
So this wedding is the only way then?
Unless you can think of another way. Because the only other way I can think of is the complete eradication of that family. But you wouldn't like that. And
No.
I don't want to go against your wishes. I don't want to force you to do something that you don't want to do. That is why I selected the boy that I thought you had a quite good relationship with from his family. The one who you would hang out with behind our backs. Most likely because I told you not to. But regardless, I chose the one that you seemed to enjoy. And then you threw it in my face.
I got scared.
Yes.
That's the only thing I can really say to that. But I'm done running away, and I will find a solution that will make us both happy.
He sighs to
Jubilee's
this.
just kind of looking direct into her eyes.
She sighs to this and says, I doubt it. Because the only thing that would make me happy is that man tied to a cinder block about 5 miles out under the water.
Trust me, the fling I had with him was just
not
that.
Darius. Not Darius. His father.
Oh, sorry. Thinks about it. No, that one makes sense.
Personally, the boy has done nothing to me. Yet. But I can only assume that were I to kill his father, he would swear revenge against me. Which would pose a few issues.
As it always does. Mother, may I approach?
Do not understand why you feel the need to ask. I am your mother, after all.
Julie will get up and head towards the head of the table, mostly because I feel I need to make amends with you as well. And I'm in no position to make demands of you, so I only ask. She'll hold out her hand as soon as she gets close enough and heal up the little cut the cuts she has. Use the first level healing word, just for the sake of flavor.
She sighs a bit. She sighs a bit to this and shakes her head and goes, magic. She still doesn't like it that much.
It's one of the reasons why I was afraid to confront you about this. I was always afraid of either disappointing you, making you angry, and I thought you only saw me as a bargaining chip or an asset to use for the business. I'm starting to see I was a little bit in my own head with that.
She just flat out calls you stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't say
Yes.
that. I do not say that in the way to insult you. You are young and impulsive, but being young and impulsive means you're stupid. We all had stupid days. We've all had stupid years. I was a stupid girl at one point as well.
Rest assured, I will, even if I have to offer myself up, I will make amends with them at the very least. And try to broker some sort of peace or treaty. Without having to be married off.
And what do you mean, offer yourself up, Julie?
I don't know if any of the rival gang was hurt in that confrontation a while back, but if they were, I won't let them kill me, but I'll at least let them take their pound of flesh if need be.
No, you won't.
Do you intend on stopping me?
Yes. Yes, I do. If need be, I will not let harm befall you, regardless of your decisions. We owe them nothing.
Did you know the full details of when I panicked and everything went wrong?
I would assume they were about to torture you.
They were about to send a message.
Yes. And you did what
the old-fashioned way.
And you did what you had to do to escape. Because
I don't regret defending myself.
You decided to slip off without either the enforcer that I assigned to you or Garmin watching you. But that is okay. You did what you had to do to survive, to ensure that nothing happened. You were brave, and you were strong. And yes, it is unfortunate, the accident that transpired. But I will not allow you to feel obligated to let them do anything to you. We owe them nothing.
And do not get me wrong. It's not about owing them something. It's about, I guess in a way, getting them to stand down. And the only lives I regret that got hurt that night were the innocent bystanders. Their own lives, however, I defended myself, pure and simple. Come to terms with that now. I don't want to be the cause of innocent lives getting hurt in the crossfire, though. Come to realize that now, that it was just me losing control, not some other boogeyman or figure that I was running from. I was running from myself. Or I don't know. In any case, I will try to be reasonable, and if they get a little violent, I shall defend myself. That's more or less what I mean by the pound of flesh. If they won't listen to reason, maybe they'll listen to another means. I don't intend on being just a sidelander.
She sighs to this and shakes her head a bit. And eventually says, I don't understand why you think you can reason with them. They are not the reasonable sort.
Well, you've been keeping track of my progress. You've seen me pull some interesting verbal maneuvers, as it were, to reason with people.
I've also seen
some even worked.
I've also seen you make an enemy of a dwarf woman by sleeping with her husband.
Okay, that one was not my fault. The man said he was single. And trust me, I was just as mad when I found out too. And I'm still hoping she understands that, but knowing dwarf culture,
Jubilee, I taught you better than to be racist. Not all dwarves act that way, after all.
No, but she kind of fit it to a T. Trust me, I travel with a dwarf who, by all means, is a wonderful gentleman. Speaking of traveling companions, that one bit you told me before, that was a recent discovery. How would you have known that? Who you've been getting the information from?
Which part, Julie? You're not being very specific.
Well, the part about Adel being part Lunarian, that was a more recent discovery.
I can smell it. Lunarian blood has a distinct smell to it if you are familiar with the scent. And I am.
Julie just kind of thinks for a moment. What country did Dad come from again?
Your father came from Solaria.
In any case, I at the very least wish to make amends and apologize for my past transgressions and try to rebuild at least familial fences again. I understand if you don't want any part of my apology, but I at least want to try to make it up to the family.
Actions speak
even
louder.
If I can't be a part of it.
Actions speak louder than words, Julie.
Then I suppose it's time I start taking action. I'll head into their territory and ask to see the Dawn directly.
He just slowly gives you a look as you say this. And she doesn't say whether or not you're allowed to, but you can tell she does not like the idea.
Like I said, I will try to reason with them, and if no reason can be found, well, I tried my version at least.
Yeah. You're not very bright, she says, pinching the bridge of her nose, and says, we could just kill them and be done with them, but you feel the need to do this.
I feel like I need to at least try.
suppose you do.
I don't know. Unfortunately, I may just get that from Father.
She rolls her eyes to this.
And again, if that doesn't work, we can do it your way.
She sighs, shakes her head, and says, "You will be doing nothing tonight. You are going to sleep." You can
Understood,
tell
Mother.
You can tell this is not optional.
She nods and bows her head a bit. Even under the worst circumstances, it is weirdly nice to see you.
It was good
This
to
has
see.
been a moment I'm sorry.
It was good to see you too.
Hopefully, next time I come by, I'll be a great meeting rather than one like this. But I'm glad I pushed myself to see you again.
You
And
say
I'm
that
glad
like
you still care about me.
you say that you pushed it when in reality Garmin brought you here.
True. He did bring me under your orders though, right?
I told everyone that if they saw you, to bring you to me immediately. Up to and including your friend Laz, who I have a sneaking suspicion has seen you more often than he's letting on.
Please don't be mad.
I am beyond mad, she says, giving you a small smile.
I feel like I really needed to give him a head start now.
Your friends
Well,
had to be
I
split.
shall.
Your friends had to be split up into two different wings, given the amount you decided to bring with you.
Yeah, seem to attract a small army. Huh. But I do care about them deeply. So I appreciate the accommodations, Mother, and I shall be rejoining them now. Possibly formulating a plan.
He raises an eyebrow as you say this.
Not one to.
If you try to
More of a
escape,
diplomatic plan, Mother.
good, because if you try to escape, one of your friends will be losing the hand.
Understood. And again, not a plan to escape, because honestly, I don't feel like I need to run.
I've said what I need to say, she says to this, very calmly. If you make the decision to run, just know, you cannot leave the city quick enough.
Understood, Mother. Have a good night. And Jubilee will calmly walk away, but feel like her heart's pounding a mile a minute right now.
Okay. As you exit the building, or as you exit the room, you do in fact see help waiting for you to lead you to your friends.
She will nod to help and proceed to try to keep the calm, cool demeanor.
Okay. As for the rest of the group, because it's going to take a while for Jubilee to be led to you all, You
Mm-hmm.
have all been led to a very large hallway. Wait, why is Garmin not here? Garmin!
Yeah.
Yeah, boss.
You're supposed to be showing everyone where the rooms are.
All right, I was taking a piss.
All right.
Sorry,
so
boss.
Yeah.
Garmin will have led you all to a wing of the building, with some of you having been split off, separated, and led to a different wing of the building, because there is only a certain amount of rooms in this wing of the building. Phenom, change the music. It doesn't matter.
I'm working on it.
And Garmin will look to you all and smile and say, "Here we are. You can all choose your rooms, except for you, Your Highness. Your room has been automatically selected." And he leads you over here, and Codsworth will open the door for you to allow you to walk into a room with red bed sheets, a view of the city that you can overlook, see people, dragons, birds, and various other creatures mingling within the city streets. There's a wardrobe, a couch, a sitting area, as well as a plethora of books for you to select from should you choose to decide that you wish to read. Garmin smiles to you and says, "I hope the room is to your liking, Your Highness."
And we'll step in and look around for a while. It's really good. Thank you.
Don't thank me. It was Codsworth, after all. And Codsworth will bow to you. Your praise to my work is music to my ears, Your Highness.
Well, it's deserved.
As for the rest of you, you can all choose your rooms, though some of you may have to stack up together.
Oh.
Unless you want to sleep on the couch. He says, motioning to a sitting area that surprisingly has a couch, a recliner, a footrest, and what I'm going to call the leisure seat. And even this furniture, which looks like standard furniture, when felt, feels really soft, really comfortable.
I feel like both Scilodius and Thorgrim share a look at the recliner and then look at each other.
Yeah, they're like, Racy there.
Hello.
The old man napping chair.
yeah, they both old men like mine. Where the fuck did you go, old man?
That way.
What about Ricky, Squib, and the others?
They got separated. They went to the other wing.
Oh, okay.
Basically, I split it off NPCs one way, and Tauntaun and Novi, and everyone else over here.
Well, BC is going to start wandering around.
Yeah, George is gonna do the same along with Otto.
Okay.
Gonna be at a window looking out into the city.
You look out into the city, and you see things in your world that you thought you would never see, as large winged reptiles soar through the air. You recognize them as dragons, and they are abundant here. You have seen well over 24 just mingling with humans. Down below in the streets, you see carriages being pulled without horses having to draw them. You see children playing with what look to be toy firearms, firing some strange foam-like object at one another. All around, you actually hear music playing as something called a radio plays what sounds like jazz, seeming to mellow everyone's mood. This is so much technology that you never dreamed would exist and have never seen in Crestfall.
Huh. As he kind of looks at it, he's going to turn around and look at, is it Garmin?
Yes, Garmin.
Look and raise his hand up to Garmin. Excuse me.
Garmin will look to you, smile, and say, "Yes. How can I help you?"
Am I allowed to go explore around the city?
He thinks for a minute and says, "Of course, but you wouldn't mind if I send a few people with you. City can be dangerous if you don't know where to go."
No, I don't mind that.
You then watch as Garmin snaps his fingers, and only a couple seconds later, two people will come up, one looking to Garmin and say, "Yeah, boss? Escort this fine young man through the city. He wishes to see the sights." "Of course, boss." And they motion you to join them. They seem fairly friendly.
Hi, my name's Otto. What's your name?
"I'm Dominic."
And he'll look to the other one.
"George."
What? As George says down the hall.
Eh? What?
Well, someone said George.
Yeah, it's my name.
Yeah, but it's also my name.
Beastie will clap her hands. You two fight to decide who owns the name.
Fight for the title of Ultimate George.
There's no need to do that.
George off.
The other George will look to Dominic and go, "See, I told you we'd meet another George before we met another Dominic. Ah, fuck you."
What's fuck?
At this, George will just look to you and go, "You ever heard of?" But and Dominic's just like, "No, no, no, come on." He says,
For
and
some reason,
begins
I
leading.
immediately go to the DX bit. You seem
And-
confused. Perhaps a little demonstration.
And then what?
Dominic will begin leading Otto.
Oh, okay. He'll go with them and bring his staff along with. This rabbit's foot like attached at his hip, which is gonna look very odd.
Damn, I can't find the meme that I wanted to show. But the meme that I saw is of Jesse McCree from Overwatch slamming his fist on the table, going, "Y'all boys heard of fuck?"
What? What the fuck?
I can't find it.
Exactly.
Alright, so Otto is now going traipsing through the city. What about the rest of you?
While going around, Beastie's just gonna elbow George's thigh with her elbow. Hey,
Yeah.
young man. This place,
What?
not Crestfall,
You to be done.
right?
No. Yeah, no, it's not Crestfall. As you kind of see, he's kind of walking, he has his hands he looks a lot more tensed up than he usually does. He's got his hands behind his back and he's walking more like a soldier than anything, which you've never seen him do.
She looks at this before hopping up and will just give her a big old powerful slap on the back.
Ow. Why?
You like a big old branch. Very tight and rigid.
Yeah, is that a problem?
Not used to it. But wrong.
What? Okay. Then he'll kind of lighten up a little bit, but he's still having his hands behind his back.
What's wrong, young one?
Have you ever been outside of your own homeland?
Yes.
Or realm, I guess?
No.
Exactly.
Me worried about children. But,
Yeah, well, I'm worried too.
but, you tense. And she'll, She'll
say.
take out a piece of rope and show him, like pulling it so it's taut. Like this, you.
I wouldn't say tense is the right word for it.
What right word?
I guess more acting professional.
Oh. Why?
Well, I'd like to leave a good first impression.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I'm only the sole representative of my homeland here, honestly, so.
Beastie will ponder this for a while. Before snapping her fingers. Good first impression, and she'll point over at Gurman. Fight him.
I'm sorry?
Fight him. Then
How would
they
that
know
be?
that's you strong. Good first impression.
I'm talking more professional good first impression, not strength first impression.
Oh. Fight him barehanded. Professional.
Do you really think that could leave a good first impression?
If you ask.
Oh no.
He's gonna like. Oh god. He's gonna like pinch his nose a little bit and it's like, might as well try something new since I'm here.
Beastie will nod. It will make you friends.
Yeah, I guess.
Just ask first.
Walk over to Garum and look up at him, or you probably look up at him. No.
Garmin will be opening a box, which you see has several cigars on it, or in it. As he pulls one out, bites off an end of it, and says, "What's up?"
I don't know if I had the opportunity to properly introduce myself. My name is George Olockenhide.
You watch as he flicks his thumb with a small flame appearing at the tip of it, as he lights his cigar with a few puffs, and exhales upwards to ensure that none of the smoke gets in your face, and goes, "Pleasure to meet you. You can call me Garmin. Cigar," he says, holding the box out to you.
No, I think I'm alright right now.
He shrugs, closing the box and tucking it back into his vest.
I do have a proposal for you, though.
I am a businessman, so I'm willing to listen to proposals.
Well, you're a businessman. Did not think about that. Well, I'm not really from this area, and I don't really know too much about it. And I wanted to leave a good first impression. So, do you, by chance, think we could have I don't know if you're someone who likes doing this, but have a sparring session?
You want to spar with me?
Yes.
He thinks about it for a minute and shrugs and says, "I guess I could give it a shot."
Alright. So, do we have to go anywhere, or... BC, you kind of do see that George is acting a lot more nervously than he usually does. He's already homesick, and he hasn't been here for less than an hour.
And he's talking to the beefcake Garmin.
Yeah, is there a place we should do this at, or...
I guess we could do it in the gym, he says, shrugging. And puts two fingers into his mouth and whistles very loudly as two more people will come up, and Garmin goes, "You keep a watch on everybody. I am going to be sparring with this young man." They nod, and then he leads you off.
All right.
Beastie will give a reassuring thumbs up to George as he goes.
He's just gonna turn around and just give his own thumbs up, which says which literally, if you could read his face, says I'm probably going to die.
Jubilee, as you're coming up the stairs being led, you see Garmin leading George away, and only George.
Garmin, is everything okay?
He has to spar.
Oh. Carry on then. Julie just kind of looks away in confusion, like, why?
Beastie will look over to Jubilee.
Hello, Beastie. Why is George going on a suicide mission?
Good first impressions.
Well, there's gonna be some sort of impression.
A good one.
But just please go make sure that George is gonna be okay.
Beastie will proudly rest her hands on her hips. No.
I mean, I think we're gonna need somebody to peel him off the wall.
No. Garmin will peel him off wall himself. I can tell. He good warrior.
Yeah, he's good, but he may be a little too good.
George will learn.
Maybe you should go witness this. You should watch Garmin, because you'll see what I mean.
Okay. And then Beastie will go down to follow.
You get stopped by one of the people, and they're like, "Where are you going?"
Garmin and young one. Big man and small man.
You see the man sigh before he pulls out a very strange-looking device and presses a button on it, and he goes, "Hey, boss." And you actually hear Garmin's voice come out of it going, "Yeah, the goblin wants to follow you. Is that okay?" "Sure." And then he motions you to go.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Essentially, they spoke into something. You heard Garmin's voice, and you were allowed to go.
Alright, yay.
Gentlemen are doing good, diligent work.
Oh, that's what we get paid for.
Jubilee just kind of sighs. I should head to my room, shouldn't I?
I guess. They says, looking a little befuddled, and it's like, "We assumed you were going to share with them," he says, pointing towards where Codsworth is standing outside.
Is that Jubilee's usual room?
No. Your room is almost an entire floor in and of its own, but
Gotcha.
they seem to know that there's a connection between you and at least one of the people in the room.
So it's a weird question for me to ask. I should have asked DM first, but Jubilee will head over to the room and knock to make sure she doesn't walk in on anything.
You don't knock because
Codsworth?
you don't knock because Codsworth opens the door for you.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Your Highness, is there anything I can get for you?
Adol, who is still looking around the room and now perusing the books, will look over. No, thank you.
Oh, of course. If you need anything, simply let me know. And he shuts the door again.
Adel will close
Jubilee
the...
will...
Oh, sorry, you go.
Go ahead. No, you go.
Adel will just shut the book that she was looking over and looks over to Jubilee. So how did it go?
Jubilee takes a huge breath out and just leans against the wall. Better than expected, but still. I think I'd rather fight the Puppet Master again than do that again.
Did not speak those words, but either way, at least it seems like it went okay.
Yes, and perhaps my own mental image of my mother was a little more fantasized than I originally thought.
In what way?
I honestly thought she thought I was a mere business asset, but it seems like she actually does care about my well-being. And I feel like I've been a horrible daughter now.
Adel will look down to her book for a while and nod. It tends to feel that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. At least with you, though, it's way more justified. Me, I was just a scared child running away from things.
You must remember that every action is caused by... well, almost every action is a reaction. Something occurred that made you do what you did.
Of course. She says, kind of walking to the window to look out and lean against the windowsill.
Roll perception.
Okay. What shenanigan didn't roll high.
You look out the window and you see the city below. You know, nothing too terribly fancy. You also see a spider sitting on the windowsill.
Jubilee just kind of looks at the spider for a moment and kind of looks closer.
It is on the outside of the window. Roll perception, since you're trying to look closer.
Another new perception check?
Yep.
Yeah, I only heard perception, so I was... Jesus Christ, these rolls today.
It's a very adorable looking white spider on the opposite side of the window, seeming to look into the room.
Almost looking a little out of place.
I mean, as out of place as a spider on a windowsill may look.
Have you ever seen a spider like this before, Adel?
Adel is going to look to it.
As you look to it, you see it raise one of its front legs and almost looks as if it's waving at you.
That is the most adorable thing I've ever seen.
Sup?
Adel, you roll perception.
Alright. Let's see. Nope.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
He's a spider.
Adel is going to...
It's adorable.
Oh, she'll look over to Hubert.
Let's see if Hubert can help you.
Sorry, but it's obviously out of place.
Nope.
Nope.
Wow.
Really cute spider.
We've all been charmed by the spider, apparently.
Everybody, look at the cute thing.
Adel is going to open up the window.
Okay, so as you open up the window, the spider will crawl in to the room. And crawl onto the floor.
She's going to look down at the little spider.
It seems to be looking up at you.
Hello, little one.
You watch as its front two legs seem to hit the ground a little bit, but other than that, it continues to look at you.
She'll offer her hand down to the spider.
It will crawl onto your hand immediately. No hesitation.
She will give one of her rare, genuine smiles as she looks at the little spider. It is adorable.
It is.
I am keeping him. Or her. I'm not sure.
Well, adorable things aside, we do need to discuss a diplomatic plan because, unfortunately, my running away did cause tensions between families to rise again. I don't want to be married off to just broker a peace.
Ada will blink for a bit. Come again.
So, remember the incident I told you about that caused me to run away in the first place?
Yes.
So, they were gonna marry me off to the son of the other Don. You briefly saw him at the dinner.
The drow?
Yes. I already feel the judgmental stares.
Dale isn't looking judgmentally. She just seems to be taking this information in. So, now the situation is you either get married or what?
Or I try to diplomatize something. Broker some sort of truce at the very least.
Remind me, why?
Because if I don't, and I don't marry him, my mother's gonna go on a full genocide wipe of them.
I wouldn't say it's genocide. Genocide implies killing an entire, nation of people.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't think of a proper word, but you get what I'm saying. It's a full wipe of them.
So...
And I'd rather not have that much blood spilled on the streets.
It's called family side, but by the way.
So if that is the case, then... what is your plan?
Well, it is kind of a drow-driven mafia. But I doubt they would listen to drow royalty at all, considering, again, your royalty, but here doesn't really matter too much.
Indeed, it probably would not.
Unless invoking your ire might cause them to remember that it could be considered an act of war, and I don't think they want a whole empire on their breathing down their neck.
That, I feel, is not a wise decision.
Yeah. Kind of a stretch. Other than, well, as I already put it, offering my own head up was not going to fly with my mother, thankfully. But if they don't listen to reason, we might just have to show a little bit of force at the very least to get them to agree. The other alternative, which not a fan of, but they're not exactly innocent themselves.
So
you catch my drift.
So the usual, essentially. However,
yeah.
Before you go running in there, I would recommend that you take a few days.
Few days?
A few days, yes. Because right now
do we have that much time?
Well, we don't even know how much time we have. That's the thing. You tend to assume things a lot, and you're acting a little bit recklessly.
It feels weird hearing the same thing my mother just told me coming from you.
Ale shrugs a little. Well, she might have been right. I do agree that finding a diplomatic solution is definitely for the best. But instead of running on in there and having a talk with them, I believe that you need to have a better understanding of what this conflict is all about. Why are your family and theirs in a war to begin with? What occurred that caused it to happen? Why do they want to fight you? For another, what would they possibly want? What do they stand to gain from not going to fight you, aside from just potential death or whatnot? Third, you need to think about the people in this family. Do you even know the name of their leader?
DM, do I know the rival Don's name?
Roll a history.
Julie starts thinking. Oh, now I get a decent roll.
Let's see. You know that his name is Barag, Baragh. Keth Rinnan. There you go.
Might want to spell it. Yeah.
I'm working on it. There you go.
Well, I rolled the first one, but it cut it. Ah, okay.
That's the surname. And the first name I will copy and paste for y'all.
I heard the first name.
Give me just a sec.
Barag Kith Rinnan.
Interesting. So, aside from his name, what do you know about him?
I will have to get back to you on that when the DM comes back.
Oh, he BRB. I didn't hear that.
Awkward silence.
Just waiting for Joy to get here. Recently, I've been watching Vinland Saga. Heard of it?
Heard of it, never watched it.
Yeah, just like had nothing better to do and still not in a mindset to do much work thanks to the move, so just started watching anime on Netflix.
Yeah. I've been reading Spy Family a lot, so.
Oh, Spy Family. I like that show.
Alright.
It's funny.
I'm back.
Hey, welcome back.
What show were you talking about?
Vinland Saga?
And I was talking about Spy Family.
Jay.
Yeah.
Roll a D100. We're gonna see how well your training is going. Or your sparring.
Getting in my sparring. Oh, okay.
We're gonna see how well you get your ass kicked.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Alright.
Oh no.
I gotta do some rolls on my end real quick.
It was gonna be like an actual fight against the...
I mean, we could have done it that way, but I figured this was a little easier and a little more streamlined.
Oh, okay.
So, George, as you spar with this man, you come to a very quick conclusion of, not only does he look like he is a mountain of muscle, he feels like he is a mountain of muscle, as your weapon almost seemingly seems to bounce off of him every time you hit him. Now, you do know that you are dealing damage to him, but he seems resistant to it somehow. And he, as a courtesy to you, decided to use rubber bullets in his revolver. And he is very accurate with his revolver. Not only that, but you've discovered that he's not just good at ranged combat, he is surprisingly good at melee combat, revolving around using his revolver as his weapon, as every time you approach him, he always manages to pistol whip you, counter you, and hit you with the revolver. Despite his size, he's surprisingly quick as well.
Huh.
And as the bar comes to an end, you having sustained more damage than him based off the D100 rolls, Garmin smiles to you and goes, "Not bad, kid."
Ah, thanks. Jesus Christ, you move very quick for your size.
You have to be quick in this line of business, son.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
He smiles and pats you on the back and goes, "You could have made a fine Solarian soldier."
Thanks?
It's a compliment, he assures you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just a soldier, not even a general or anything.
You have to work your way up to general.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, generals of this country are also known as, one of the generals of this country was Flores, so...
That is also true.
Man, Flores put you through some shit. I forgot about Flores.
So, I think we should head back up now, before your friends start missing you too much.
Yeah, that's fair.
You too, he says, pointing at you, Beastie.
Beastie nods, and then looks to George and gives a thumbs up. See? Good first impression.
He says right in front of Garmin.
Yeah, she knows.
Garmin just looks down at you and says, "You could have also made a good first impression by being polite."
What is polite?
He says, shrugging, not feeling the need to explain this to you.
Pretty much like Otto. George kind of says half-heartedly.
Bag? Bag is quiet and very nervous.
You just call him the egg?
Bag.
Yeah, but he's also asks a lot and doesn't really do his own thing. He asks for permission first before just doing his own thing. In an area that isn't his own. That isn't his home.
Oh. Well, you asked before fight, so you polite. Therefore, she gives a thumbs up. Good first impression.
Kind of just rub his face a little bit. Watching back. It's funny, I think that's the last time I ever asked someone to spar as a first impression.
Oh, come on now. I was going easy on you.
Yeah.
The static.
Matt, I think your mic's fucked up, bud.
Is it?
I think you.
My ears.
I think you might have moved some wires or something.
No,
I'm gonna just,
no wires moved.
Alright.
I'm kind of just say with his hands to his face. Yeah, and there's a lot more I could have done too.
I believe you.
Huh?
I believe that you were capable of more.
I think you're the first person I've heard that said that.
Garmin shrugs a bit and said, before going, "There's a lot of things that you don't show people the first time you fight them, after all. Not only that, but there's still probably some potential in you."
Really?
"I don't see why not," he says, looking at you.
Huh. Alright.
This world seems vastly different from your world.
Yeah. A lot less insulting.
In any case, next time when you all don't need rest, as I'm fairly certain you went through quite an ordeal in whatever building you ended up going in, you and I can have another spar.
Wait, what? Sorry, I didn't hear. I was talking to somebody, so I didn't hear what he said.
He said that because you all seem to have gone through an ordeal from whatever building you had all gone in, referring to the dungeon, he said you can always come back to spar with him again since you didn't seem to be on your A game, essentially.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Beastie, meanwhile, was like listening in on this conversation, smiling and agreeing, but then pauses when she notes that, like, the thing about difference in realms, and then she thinks for a bit. Young man,
Huh?
it's brighter here.
You noticed that too, did you not?
Yes,
The sun shines. It is beautiful.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it is pretty bright.
why is it brighter here? And she goes out and looks at the sun. Before looking to
Proceeds
Gurman.
to go blind.
Nah, that's the challenge.
Stares directly at the sun.
I
to see
punch
and
a
it's
tree.
challenging me.
I punch a tree and then I stare at the sun. But she'll look to the sky before looking to Garmin. Garmin. Moon doesn't go red?
I mean, sometimes it does, but no, he says to this. He's referring to the natural occurrence of a blood moon whenever the planetoids align and the sun bounces off the moon and it makes it seem red. Why do you ask?
In home, it's almost always gloomy.
Yes. I was out and about during one of your blood moons, I think it's called. Didn't end very well.
Are you implying that this phenomenon does not exist in your world?
No, it doesn't.
Sounds pleasant.
Aria is a good place to live.
Place is very different. Now BC's going to be oddly deep in thought while looking out the window.
LB
Yeah,
will
George
also.
is gonna go rest.
Yeah, he
he's
did
also
get his ass
looking out
kicked.
the window. Yeah.
Alright, so, as Adel and Jubilee continue to talk, there's a knock on the bedroom door.
Ada will look over. Hubert, can you answer that?
Of course. And Hubert will open the door, and on the other side, stands a man that hair seems to be billowing flames as he stares at Hubert for a long while and he goes, "You're not Jubilee." And Hubert replies, "I am well aware of this."
Jubilee will kind of rush up behind Hubert
Jubilee, as you do, you recognize the enforcer assigned to be essentially your guardian, Lars, standing in the hallway.
She'll just rush up and give him a big hug. Lars, it's good to see you.
He hugs you back and smiles and goes, "Careful now, you don't want to burn yourself."
Of course.
He's joking.
You're not. It's been up and down, but I'm still here.
Who's the vampire?
Lars, this is Hubert, and this is Adel Sarday.
I am not a vampire. I don't believe you.
He gets that a lot. Also, Adel took the spider with her. She's just resting the spider on her shoulder.
Take too much finagling. Well,
Come in, Lars, come in.
Lars will step in, smiling, and says, "Well, it'd be rude not to introduce myself. My name's Lars," he says, holding his hand out to you, Adel Sarday. "And you must be the princess that's visiting."
You heard of me?
Of course! You think we get princesses visiting here?
Once again, a loading bar is like going through Adel's mind at being treated like royalty for the first time in a year and a bit, but then she'll shake his hand.
Especially pretty princesses like you, he says, shaking as soon as you start shaking his hand.
Oh. Thank you, Lars.
He gives you a smile. He seems genuine.
Sorry, can you say that again?
He gives you a smile and he seems genuine with his compliment.
So, she lets go of his hand. Jubilee, Lars, are you in the same family, or are you friends, or?
Technically a friend, but I'm more or less her bodyguard.
Huh.
Yeah, guardian would probably be the best term.
Must have been a shock
Which
to you.
is...
You go.
No, you go ahead. Sorry, I was addressing something else.
Must have been a shock when she left, huh?
Yeah, especially since I was immediately put under interrogation because clearly I knew exactly where she had run off to.
Jubilee just kind of looks sheepishly at him, like, sorry. They didn't rough you up too bad.
Well, the worst part was them just dousing me in water constantly, he says as he's thinking back to it. But I'm fine.
And I'll then look out
Is that really deadly to you, or is that really more a very big inconvenience?
It's not that painful, but it was cold.
Ada will look up at his flaming head.
Oh, you ever met a Genasi before?
I have not.
Well, I'm a Genasi.
Ah, so your kind are on fire.
Well, the ones that are fire-based, yeah.
There are many questions, but now is not the time.
I'm long and short of it. My dad was a genie. My mom was a human.
Oh.
So I'm technically half genie, and the genie was an Ifriti, and that's why he then motions over the fire that's burning on him.
So, anyway. It's nice to meet you, Lars.
It's a pleasure to meet you too.
Jubilee, maybe Lars can...
Lars. Don't get any funny ideas, Lars.
What do you mean? I'm just being friendly.
Insight.
Well, Lars, I think you might be of some assistance to Jubilee here.
Oh, how can I help?
Jubilee needs help planning for her next move. You've been in Solaria longer than I have.
Are we talking Molotov through a window planning, or making s'mores by a campfire planning?
Edel will look to Jubilee.
More talking out situations and feeling out the current situation between families, as it were.
S'mores by a campfire, got it.
How bad is it?
It's not great.
Oh, I know that much, but, like, how bad is it?
It's not great, he says. It doesn't seem like he can find a way to express how bad it is in words.
Ooh, that's
Also-
not good.
Also, your insight check, while he may have been flirting with Adel Sarday, it's him, that's just his personality. He flirts with people. But if they
Gotta do that double check.
if they don't respond well to it, he stops. Or if it makes it uncomfortable, he stops. When Adel Sarday didn't seem to care one way or the other, he stopped.
So we're not at full-blown war yet, but tensions
Well-
are mounting.
So it's kinda we're still in the same state we were in before the marriage thing, but then you left and we're still kinda that bad off, except now fights break out at the drop of a pin, as opposed to stuff.
So now are they always picking fights?
Well, we're selling stuff on their turf, or vice versa, yeah.
I don't get the feeling like if I went through with the marriage, this would have been the problem anyways. And not because of you guys.
I actually feel if you had gone through the marriage, we would have been able to, stop any of the fights. The worst thing we'd be bickering over is how much profit went to what family.
Well, as I stated before, if I'm marrying, I'm doing it for love, not for business.
No.
But in any case, so far the only thing I got is to speak to so hard to say.
Borog?
Don of the other family directly. Or
Really weird name, isn't it?
isn't right?
Doesn't seem that weird to me.
Even for their standards, it's a little off. Wait, really?
I've met weird people with weirder names.
To be fair, we do know Scalodius and Beastie, so
Yes, but they don't have weird names, technically.
okay. How are we gonna approach talking? Like, do we try to draw a division so that we stay off each other's territory? Do we just...
Yeah, you try convincing your mother to give up territory.
Yeah, no, I'm just spitballing ideas. That was not my first go-to. Like, what approach do we go with is what I'm more or less asking.
As you ask this, he pulls out a bottle of liquor with a rag in it and goes, huh? Huh?
Is that your go-to?
With,
I mean,
to be fair, he always has a fire source on standby, so.
it's not my go-to. However, I have lost a lot of friends to this rival family, so I'm more willing to burn them alive than I am to try and negotiate. But I will go with whatever she ultimately decides.
And we'll then look over to Jubilee. He has a point. As much as a diplomatic solution would be the best solution, in my opinion, you have to keep in mind the people that you're representing.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why you need to take a few days to research this. Though, you are right
Yes.
that we don't know how much time we have, but there is an easy way to find out. Just ask.
Mm.
For example, Lars, has the enemy family been escalating violence, or is this just the same?
Oh, fights break out more often, but wouldn't necessarily say that it's escalating.
Indeed.
If that makes sense.
It seems like things are sort of at a standstill, well, as far as escalation is concerned. It seems like you have plenty of time unless something outside of our control occurs.
Lars, how has the rival family been operating? And I don't mean as in like territory, like have they been strong arming any individuals or any innocents?
I mean, they go around asking for protection money. They go around trying to persuade people that they need help. They tried to persuade a dragonborn one day, and it was not pretty.
They did what?
Oh,
I missed that last part.
it wasn't pretty. They more or less cornered her, told her that it's dangerous to be going out and about, and I'm fairly certain all of them ended up with broken limbs. Like, went out of her way to ensure that everyone had a broken arm, leg. It was just... And he gets a distant glance, almost as if he's remembering the entire fight before he shakes his head. It wasn't pretty.
Oh, Jubilee. Seems like you have your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
Well, I gave you
I
suggestions.
don't know how honorable these thieves are going to be.
I gave you suggestions as to what I believe you should do. If you feel like you need my help, feel free to ask. I'm here.
We probably should try to gather information in the city.
Good idea. Just try
Seeing
not
what
to.
the recent rumblings are.
Just try not to escalate things, or be a reason.
Well,
to
the problem
have
is if
things
I can't
escalate.
really do it directly, because then I'll make myself a target.
Take Hubert with you.
Well, that's nice and really nice, but problem is also again as you said, I'm acting as Senate's daughter at this point. It'd be kind of suspicious and put people on high alert if all of a sudden Senate's daughter came back from out of nowhere and started asking questions.
So what would you suggest?
Well, maybe a few of the tourist types can go searching around, like our friends from the other realm.
I suppose so.
Again,
They
they
might
wouldn't
be
raise
willing
any suspicion, as they are literally just tourists.
Well, that's true. Lawrence, how often is it that tourists start asking about Solarian mafia and underground politics?
He just stares at you before going, What kind of people you think comes and asks about the underground here?
I'm not sure. That's why I was asking you.
I mean, there was years ago whenever a white-haired weirdo began asking about it and then found a way into it less than 30 minutes later. But, yeah.
Said weirdo.
His name wasn't Obitus,
Said
was it?
weirdo.
No, it wasn't Obitus.
Oh,
He's
okay.
just giving you a look, and it's like, why do you know that name?
Isn't he famous?
We've had a lot of interesting encounters.
And isn't he famous?
Not in Solaria.
Didn't he help stop
Be more
that?
infamous.
Yeah, but didn't he help the... Isn't he one of the 5 heroes that stopped that dragon that wanted to take over the world?
Huh? He's just kind of staring at you.
Is that not a common... I heard it all the way back where I came from. How did...
Obitus has black hair.
Ah, I forgot that fact, yes. My mistake. Must have been... Nilo.
Out back in the Kingdom of Twilight. Achoo! Ugh. Huh. That was strange. Anyway, and no one goes around asking, "Oh, you're part of the mafia." You'd have to be an idiot. Now again, Achoo! But I'm suggesting maybe, have a few of our friends check out a local dive bar or something. Just kind of try to listen in on conversations.
I think you would be
This one
better...
requires a little more subtlety than...
I think you would be better off asking Hubert to do that, Jubilee.
I think it would be better off if she asked me to simply get rid of them.
We'll see, depending on how bad they really are, but let's keep that in the back pocket for now. Again, I'm not above fighting them if we absolutely have to. All I'm saying is, I want to at least try to prevent innocent lives getting caught in the crossfire. That being said, maybe someone from a neighboring country would also be less suspicious too, like Thorgrim.
Hold on just a second.
Hello?
Hello?
I think he BRB'd for some reason.
Yeah,
Alright.
hold on just a second.
No, but I heard a Tauntaun join. There's a Tauntaun amongst us.
Amogus.
Vented, I saw it.
No, I did that earlier.
What? That was you?
What have I missed?
Talking. Lots of talking.
No, it's fucking dumb. But what specifically?
Family drama.
Yeah.
Planning to try to diplomatize with rival mafia family, and if that
Wait,
doesn't
so
work,
completely zoomed
possibly
out
get in a
for
fight.
this Butler man in front of the room Jubilee's in. It looked like it was a capybara person.
I mean, that would be kind of cool.
Because like it had my
But
map
it's
fully
not.
zoomed out, so it literally looked like a capybara person. Then it morphed into which
I can kinda see it.
morphed into a person.
I can kind of see it.
It's an anamorph.
Oh no! Don't bring garbage.
That series was a lot more dark than it had any right to be.
It was a weird
Yeah.
series. By the way, did you guys hear that season 7 for Totally Spies is coming out next year?
Ooh.
I heard
How
about
many of
that.
us have any hope for it not being some woke garbage?
Nope.
Nah, if it's coming out this year, it's gonna be woke garbage. There's no escaping
Next
that.
year, 2024.
Whatever. Still gonna be woke garbage. Especially depending on who's making it.
Canada.
Hey.
Just saying, the Canada studio is the one who makes the show, so.
Yeah, but like, hey.
I'm referring more to whoever's like producing it. Like, is it Warner Brothers?
Okay.
Is it Warner Brothers, etc., etc.?
It has a planned episode count of 26.
Doesn't answer the question.
I'm looking into it, giving you what I can find right now, because I'm on the Totally Spies wiki.
Right now is D&D time, not.
Well, you
Totally
said hold on
Not Wicked
because
time.
somebody was gone.
Yeah, I said hold on because I was doing something, but I am no longer
Oh.
doing something.
Yes.
So, maybe sending Thorgrim would be a good idea to gather information. Maybe a couple of the others.
If you feel like that's his best, I would rather send Hubert because he is more trained in this kind of thing.
I'm not saying don't send Hubert. Definitely send him, but definitely not kill first, Hubert.
Hubert just looks at you. You can't get a read on his opinion on this matter.
He won't kill unless I tell him to.
Meanwhile, in Hubert's mind, god damn it.
They can't prove I killed anybody if they can't find the body.
Hence why Thorgrim's going. Thorgrim is the anchor for Hubert.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
But if they're able to find the information which will be of help for you, it would be wise for them to go.
And trust me, I would love to go myself, but like I said, it would just me being out there draws a lot of suspicion as it is.
Agreed. Though, you can use that to your advantage.
Maybe get him to focus on other things. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Not quite. You're aiming this for a diplomatic mission. If you're asking around about them, but make it clear what your intentions are, that could help. That would be of a help to you.
That's if they have good intentions. If they have every intention to drag out the fight, then that's a whole nother problem.
Time for you to find out. Well, whoever you sent to find out specifically.
So, day one, we'll put feelers out and gather what we can, and then maybe day two, then I'll be out there personally. Does that sound like a good compromise?
Seems like it would work to me.
Yeah. I hope so. And trust me, Lars, if they have no intention of backing down, there definitely might be a scuffle. So I'll let you know if that ever happens.
Very well.
Tauntaun, at this point you will have been led from your wing that you are staying in, because you can't stay in the same wing as everyone else. There aren't enough bedrooms. And if you want to talk to anybody, you are allowed to.
I see. stop it.
What?
I said map, not mat.
Close enough.
Yes.
Oh,
It is
fair enough.
difficult to it is difficult to differentiate certain sounds over a Discord call.
Boop, 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 boop. I'm assuming Tauntaun does not know at all where anyone is.
Nope.
Ophi's gonna chill with Beastie and Elvie. And Ophi's just gonna wander. Or not Ophi, Tauntaun's just gonna wander.
Okay.
Cause that's about all I got. Cause
Aye.
without information, he can't do a whole lot.
Well, Jay, what exactly are you looking for with Otto? Or are you just trying to get a lay of the land?
There's like a lay of the land, and then he's probably gonna go to a shop and see what they have to offer.
Okay. So, lay of the land wise, this city is very technologically advanced. It has candle holders with strange orb glass things in it that flicker with light. However, you do not see any flame within them. There is there's technology abound everywhere you look. Going into a shop, it's just your standard array of various items that you can easily come across. There are toy firearms that you could purchase if you want to. There is a clockwork box that whenever you flick a switch, what looks to be a cat comes out, paws the switch back into place, and then it hides back in the box. As far as you can tell, it serves no other purpose other than to do this. But it has various animals that does this, including a cat, a dog, a bird, a rabbit, and a pig.
It's gonna look at the one with the rabbit in it and just say, how much does this cost?
10 gold.
He'll look in his pouch and realizes he only has 5 gold.
The one of the people escorting you will lay down 10 gold and say, "Give it to the kid." And the shopkeeper will nod and slides it to you.
Oh, look at him and say, thank you, as he kind of takes the thing.
It was Dominic, and Dominic smiles and says, "No problem. Got to give you something to remember the city by."
I appreciate it. So kind of walking and say, so, is there anything else great about the city other than all the autumn, the technology stuff?
Well, I mean, it depends. What are you looking for?
I don't know.
You ever ridden on a dragon, kid?
No,
You wanna?
I think I'd like that.
Okay. Dominic will look at his wrist. You're not sure why, and says, we got time. And we'll lead you over, and he leads you to a area that's wide open, and you see 5 different dragons currently laying on the ground, with one standing, accepting payment from a group of children who he then helps them onto his back before he takes off into the sky. It seems the dragons have made a nice business allowing people to ride on them if they have never had the opportunity to. Dominic leads you over to a green dragon who looks to you all, and do you speak Draconic?
Oh, damn, I do not.
Okay. You hear George and the dragon hiss at one another for a little bit as they speak Draconic to one another. George will pay, and the dragon will assist all 3 of you onto its back before taking off into the air. The wind blows past your face, through your ears, and against your hair. And as you have never flown before, it's quite invigorating to see the city below you and see everything zooming around at a breakneck. breakneck speed.
Oh God.
And eventually, the dragon will land and help all of you off before Dominic smiles and say, "Well, what'd you think, kid?"
I liked it. It's very fun.
Yeah. We need to get back to the house, though. It's almost time for curfew.
Oh, is a curfew here?
It's more at the house, but yeah.
Oh. Why is there a curfew at the house but not in the city?
Well, the city's actually a pretty safe place. The house has a curfew because we have somebody who ran away.
Wait, who ran away?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, kid.
Oh, okay.
Irony.
And, you, Dominic, and George will eventually make your way back to the mansion where you are led upstairs to where your friends are.
Hello.
Bag.
Yes, it is open.
BC will smile to him.
I got to ride a dragon.
What?
Large red exclamation point from Scalodius.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Beastie usually takes everything in a stride, just stares at him. What?
Yeah, I got to ride a dragon.
Scale is going from a deep sleep to this and shit posting.
Just hears dragon in his ear and then just wakes up.
I love that.
I mean, if you
gif.
want to be technical, anyone can ride a dragon in this party.
Boo.
What was that?
priest.
Did I hear what I think you said?
About what?
Scalodus just kind of pushes by to look out the window. Because he had not looked outside at all.
You see dragons in the air everywhere.
Yeah, I got to ride one of those.
Naturally.
He points out one of the dragons.
The one that he points out is a very beautiful green dragon, currently flying through the air with people resting on her back.
So majestic. Scalodus looks like he's about to cry happy tears.
Priest. Isn't it brighter here?
Yes, it is.
Why is this place so different to home?
I don't know, he says, regaining his composure.
But it also kind of feels same?
Not sure how to if I can put my claw on it.
She frowns. I feel this feels strange.
Hey, Grandpa, you mind telling me why you just ran out of your friggin' room in a huff?
Dargan.
Points to out the window. Dragons. Happily.
Yeah,
Says happily.
Oh, right, you're
There's
part of the dragon worshipping religion. Yeah, I can see how that would be.
Lord Draco aside, this
Roll
is a beautiful sight for me.
roll another wisdom save.
You,
Who?
You keep saying
Oh,
the
me?
D word.
The D word.
Oh,
Dargan.
The cock Johnson.
Dickus.
He keeps saying Draco.
Uh-oh.
that one.
Who the fuck is this?
Alright, so Scalodius, as you say Draco, it suddenly feels as if you have been decked in the jaw by a godly amount of force. The rest of you watch Scalodius hit the floor unconscious.
The fuck?
Yo.
KO.
He doesn't know
Father.
about other deities.
Father, are you alright?
Priest? He's asleep because he see too many dragons.
The fuck?
Beastie will pick him up. This happened once. He saw a picture of dragon with no clothes on.
Dragons don't normally wear clothes.
You asshole.
Beastie will
Does
look up.
Ophi know that this is normal, or was even a fainting?
How often does Scalodius faint?
Not very.
And for what reasons?
Usually if he goes down, he's got knocked the F out.
Ooh, Roman fanboys.
Alright, so Ophi, this isn't normal.
What was the last word he said before getting his shit rocked?
Draco.
Draco, the name of his god.
Hmm.
Can I roll a religion check to see if there's any rhyme or reason as to why he was KO'd?
As far as you can tell, no.
Okay.
He just suddenly went unconscious.
Beastie, I got a question for you.
Yes?
Could you say the name of Scalodius' god for me?
Draco?
Roll a wisdom save.
Oh boy.
You little shit.
Ophi, I'm gonna test something. Beastie!
She can take it.
Uh-oh.
As you say the name, Beastie, suddenly you see a vision of a 9-foot tall red-headed woman currently storming through the streets. And you're fairly certain it's of the city you're in.
Beastie will blink for a bit.
And it's gone. As soon as you blink.
Okay, Beastie, what happened?
I don't know.
A beautiful woman.
Well, you're
Hey.
not
Oh, woman,
unconscious.
snoo.
Very, very
Death.
big woman.
Let me go get the clip.
Death by snoo.
Yep, that one.
God.
Got
Did you know that they did it for Vexalia too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I showed Matt it when it came out.
Yeah.
I actually
God, I
commissioned
love
the
it.
person that made the animation.
For what?
You'll see.
You'll see.
I love his stuff.
Anyways. Beastie, explain it to us word by word what happened.
Big woman, red hair, in city, looked angry.
Well, time to try it myself. Draco.
You didn't say it right.
I didn't?
No, it's Draco, not Draco. Yes, the pronunciation matters.
Maybe I have to say it like those two. Draco?
Roll a wisdom save.
Alright. Wisdom. Would you load?
Okay. As you say it, you also get a vision of the tall, red-headed woman currently moving through the streets.
Can Ophi try and figure out what street?
No.
No, like special buildings nearby, like
Nope.
landmarks.
You haven't been in the city long enough to, You have not been in the city long enough to have that luxury.
I'll just
Nothing
look at
funny,
the-
funny looking to go off of then.
I was gonna kind of look at the wolf and be like, "Are you guys okay?"
Yeah.
Me see a big, strong, beautiful woman.
Yeah, Beautiful's pushing it.
She looks over at Ophi. Me was not into woman, child.
I was gonna
Now
kinda
Okay.
we're not sure.
I was gonna kind of look out the window. Does he see the woman or no?
Have you said the name?
He was looking out the window to see the woman.
Looking out the window, you just see you see the sun beginning to set. Most people have begun going home at this point.
I don't see her.
Oh, right. You have to say the name of a god.
Name of a god?
Yeah, specifically the one of dragons.
Who's that?
The god of dragons is Ares, kid.
Ah, right. Not where we're from.
Ares?
Yeah.
It's a nice name. Ares.
It is a neat name. But do you really think it has as much force as Draco?
Roll a wisdom save.
God damn it.
She's
14.
going to show up at some point.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. She's like,
What?
who the fuck keeps saying this name?
God damn it! If it's Obi again, I'm gonna kick his ass.
Who the fuck keeps calling me? I'm in the shower.
All right. Eventually, Garmin will move up to you and go, "As fun as it is watching you all, it is time for bed." So
But I'm
He
not
looks-
tired.
he just looks at you. He gives you a very long look as he smokes his cigar, breathes upwards, and says, "It's almost nighttime. It's time for bed."
That's the perfect time to go fishing.
No, it isn't.
It is.
No.
Hey, Scalotus, you know what that means?
Skillos is KO'd.
Beastie.
I call the
is-
recliner in your...
Beastie's still holding the priest. She'll go over, see Thorgrim on the chair. We'll drop Scalodius on Thorgrim and then walk off.
Ow! What the Ah! Well,
Heavy
this is my
Dead
life
weight
now.
too, so good luck.
Joke's on you. I have the cushion.
And I am the cushion now. Shit.
I have the
We do
cushion,
not care.
and now I have spikes in my stomach.
I have spikes. I got claws.
Or, well, whatever goes along the back. Ridges, or whatever it's called. Spines, I think.
There
Now,
you go.
If you all want to, you can either share rooms or room privately. If you want to room privately, I'll have to lead you back to your wing. He says, motioning to you, Opie.
Where's Panther and Beastie staying at?
In the other wing.
Oh, okay. Well, then. Just gonna stay with
Staying with the
Panther and
family?
Beastie.
Okay, so you're gonna be led to the other wing.
And the third one was Sinclair, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, those three.
Alright, so Tauntaun, eventually somebody will come up to you and ask if you're going to stay in this wing or the other wing.
I'm probably gonna stay in this wing. I found books. Plenty of trivia to be found.
So, Garmin is about to lead Ophi away.
Beastie will
anything?
follow.
Yeah, Beastie's going with Ophi.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ophi usually sleeps with the fam.
She's actually going to ask Ophi for the Sending Stone to speak with Zardak.
Does that even work here?
You don't know.
Ophi's gonna hand it over, just kind of curious. Wondering whether or not he should have actually gone for a private room.
Will one of the upper rooms suffice? Like perhaps over here?
I mean, any room that has a bed you can go into. Or
This one
any
does
room.
not have a bed.
Well, you can stay anywhere because the other rooms that would have beds from where the goons are is over this way with the arrow.
See.
But you can stay in here if you want to sleep in a chair.
Would prefer bed, but where is bed?
Off to the left from where you are. There's two rooms that are unoccupied.
Every time I try to scroll to the left, it scrolls back to the right, and it's irritating.
To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left!
Alright. So, Lars will bid you all adieu. Codsworth, as everyone's getting ready for bed, will enter and go, "Is there anything I can get for you, Your Highness, Jubilee? Or Julie? Which name would you prefer me to call you, madam?"
Jubilee will do just fine. And no, I think I'm good. Are you guys good?
Yes, I don't have anything.
Would you like a pitcher of water for the evening?
Oh, yes, please. Actually, she'll look to the spider. Kira, what do spiders eat?
Spiders eat various insects, Your Highness.
And depending on the size, they could also eat possums.
They also do not need to eat very often, so long as your little friend there has eaten, they can thrive for a while. But if they haven't, they will go hunting while you sleep to ensure their own survival. But if you wish me to try and scrounge up a cockroach of some sort, I will happily do so.
Oh, no, it's fine. If they're comfortable hunting for themselves, then no need to worry yourself.
Of course. Now, would you like iced water, spring water, purified water?
Ice, please.
He will bow to you before he heads off.
I have to say, Jubilee, that your staff here is very impressive.
They're always top notch.
Well, she will look over at the spider on her shoulder. I have figured out what I will name you, little one.
It waves to you.
I'm gonna call you Birdie.
It'll stare at you. As far as you can tell, it understood you.
Because, like a certain someone I know, you're incredibly deadly and yet mega cute. Thus, Bertie. In their namesake.
And
I wonder who she's talking about. Smirks.
And after about a minute, you hear a knock on the door.
Shall I use Mage Hand to open it?
Codsworth will empty, carrying a platter with a very large pitcher of water, which he pulls out. He pulls out a foldable table, sets the plate on top of it, and then pours all three of you a cup of water, passes them out to each person before placing a hand on his chest and bowing and goes, "Is there anything else I can get for you, Your Highness?"
Does anyone want anything?
I can get you snacks for the evening. I can get you entertainment. I can get you a radio. Anything that comes to mind.
Oh, a radio will be nice. Thank you.
Of course. He leaves the room and less than 20 minutes later comes back, sets the radio down, and pulls out a strange wire, which he plugs into something behind the nightstand and clicks on the radio to a slow jazz station. Is there anything else?
Oh, no. Thank you.
Of course. And if you need me at all during the night, he will pull out a silver bell and hand it towards you.
She'll take it.
Just ring that, and I will come post-haste.
All right.
Have a good evening, Your Highness.
You too.
And he will once again leave. And Hubert just stares at the door for a little while.
Adel is also looking to the door.
I don't like him.
Why? Is he not trustworthy?
Jubilee's trying her best not to crack up.
I simply do not like him.
So you're just jealous.
Jubilee pokes Hubert's cheek. Yes, he is. Well, if you two would prefer to have a little bonding sent to help Hubert with his jealousy, I'll make myself scarce if you would like, Adel Sarday.
Do as you please. And Ale will then go and sit on the bed. This is a strange circumstance.
Why is that, my lady?
Yes.
It's been a very long time since I've been treated like royalty by anyone other than you.
It seems that these people are very intelligent.
Or rather, we're finally in a place where royalty actually matters.
I think you'll find it's more loyalty more than intelligence, but they are good people.
It's almost hard
Kind
to
of miss this.
It's almost hard to believe I was introduced that I'm almost killing a man. Speaking of which, how is he?
Sorry?
The person who you saved.
They're probably doing just fine.
Let's hope so.
I guess you can see why this although the lifestyle's nice, the dirty underbelly was never for me.
It reminds me of my home.
I have to disagree with you on that one, my lady.
I know, ours was a lot more extravagant and a lot more bloody, but...
And very disorganized, comparatively speaking.
Yes, but this is as close to home as we've been for the past... while.
What? Couple months?
Well, we were in Aria for a few months before spending the year in Crestfall, so...
Been a year. Wow.
Well, Jubilee, it is getting late. You should probably get some rest before... everything.
You're right. No time to make Hubert feel better, unfortunately. We have to rest and take care of busy work. Jubilee says, sitting on the opposite side of the bed.
And unlike most of the beds you all have slept in recent times, this is a king-size bed. It is very large.
So large you could fit another 7 people.
I miss sleeping in a bed like this.
I do as well.
There's definitely enough room for Hubert, right? He should be comfortable too.
If he wants to sleep here.
He'll never admit to it, though. You'd have to order him to admit it, and that's a paradox in itself.
Yes, because he knows I dislike ordering him around.
I know. I just like when you guys are more honest.
I am plenty honest. Okay,
Hubert, would you like to come join us?
After the talk over to escape me, I have to be more open.
More honest with yourself more than others.
Well, I would like him to be on the bed, but I'm not going to order him because I dislike ordering him.
You can simply ask then.
Alright, will you?
Of course.
Alright.
See what honesty gets you? Gets you a Hubert.
It gets me feeling embarrassed.
Jubilee just kind of sticks her tongue out playfully. Well, we got a long day, so let's get some rest. Please, we'll say, then tucking herself in.
Yes. Plus, there is something I think I need to look for tomorrow, too.
What might that be?
A gun.
Why?
Jubilee, what?
Ella's going to reach into her belt, and then we'll take out a bullet. This is Mark's last magic bullet. When he first got them, I took one just in case. He would end up losing all of them. And
Technically,
he
he
did.
did.
She'll put the bullet away. I don't want it to go to waste.
Kind of miss him still.
Me too. Tempest has most likely brought him back by now in some capacity, but we don't know if it's the same Mark.
Mm-hmm. And we don't know if he's had enough time to grieve or if he's still angry at us.
Most likely the latter. Knowing our luck.
Hmm. Maybe I can... I don't know. Well, good night, Jubilee says, shutting her eyes.
Good night.
Okay.
Hold on, did Beastie get the sending stone?
Yes.
Right.
But you never said you spoken to it, so
Oh, is it too late now?
you can say it.
Oh, yeah, she's gonna send a message to Zardak.
It does not go through.
She'll give it back to Orpheus.
Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus, yes.
Like the 13th constellation. Very well, Zodiac constellation, but still.
Alright, so, what about the rest of you?
No, I said what Tauntaun was doing.
Still KO'd.
Okay, George and Otto. Otto was going to have such a gigantic fucking bed. Jay, you there?
I think he
Okay.
BRB'd.
He must be burped.
Well, in that case, we will just assume that they're doing stuff. Alright, so...
There is one thing that Elvie would like to do, if possible.
What would that be?
Just one more thing.
Once the beverage and food has been obtained, Elvie will sit on her bed and will admire the new ring on her finger and will begin speaking to it.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Just women
Ring.
things.
Ring of Power, I wish to speak with you.
Yes.
Since you and I are attuned to one another, and you attune specifically to those who worship the one known as Power, I was wondering. I do not know much about the deity in which I serve, unfortunately, and I was wondering if you had more information.
Currently, no. I've been
No?
alone for so long.
I see. Yet you are... Yet you attune to those who worship Power, and yet you know nothing about it.
It's not that I know nothing. It is simply...
You know nothing of power.
It is simply... It is hard to remember.
I see. Will it require time, or will there be a method to perhaps unlock some memories that lay dormant?
When I remember, I shall inform you.
Very well. Take your time. There is no rush. I believe we will be together for quite a while.
I hope so.
With that in mind, Elvie will lean back and will simply lounge about, snacking on her veggies.
Right?
Crunch.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh yeah. Before going to sleep, Adel's just going to use the rest of her hit points on Zuriel. So that'll be
It dies.
It
it
does.
die. Yeah, so that'll be 5.
She kills herself for cereal.
Kills herself feeding Zuriel.
That's all I'm
I-
right there.
Zuriel.
If she uses both her hit dice and her hit points, it might do something. But I think that would have negative consequences. So,
Yeah, like you're dead.
yeah, she
Aria.
could just go down to 1 HP and then she'd be fine the next day. Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm not testing it.
That's how D&D works.
Alright, so... As the night goes on, I need a perception check from Scalodius.
Oh, fuck.
Can Thorgrim also roll one, since Scalodius is literally on top of him?
Sure.
Okay. I don't see shit. I'm blocked by dragon butt.
I don't see shit either.
Alright,
You're
Can't see
asleep.
shit, brah.
in that case, you don't see it coming, and you automatically fail the grapple check that's about to hit you. As
Guessing I'm grabbed by the throat.
As Scalodius, you are suddenly jostled from your deep slumber as a hand grips the front of your robes and lifts you off of your feet, which is a feat in and of
Oh,
itself,
good heavens.
given your height and your weight, and it feels as if this person has done this like you weigh like a piece of paper. And as your eyes snap open and you look around, you look down to the person who's holding you aloft in the air, and you see a red-headed woman staring
Uh-oh.
up at you.
Uh-oh. Found her.
Can I help you, ma'am?
Who are you?
Pleased to make your acquaintance. I am Scalodius Uvaldi. Vibu.
Why
Why
are
is
you
it-
saying the name of a god of dragons that isn't mine?
I apologize. I didn't think there was more than one.
She raises an
Oh,
eyebrow.
which one do you serve?
I am the god of dragons.
Oh.
Thorgrim like looks over or like out from behind Scalodius and just waves. Hi.
Tall redheads.
As you say hi, you actually notice that this woman is wearing a baby Bjorn, and in the pouch there is actually a small baby just sitting there. They wave to you.
Aww.
A baby what?
You assume it's hers, so demigod.
Okay.
Immediate
I didn't know if
dad
she had
mode
like a baby
activate.
dragon with her.
Wait, oh.
Thorgrim is now playing peekaboo with the baby.
I apologize, ma'am. I'm not exactly from this realm, so I was only referring to the deity from my realm.
Yes, but you've said his name at least 3 times. It isn't.
Why is that strange?
Because whenever you invoke the name of a god, whose aspect is that of mine, it draws my attention to you.
I apologize, ma'am. I did not know my praise of my deity would do that to you, and I apologize for taking up your time. I am a mere priest of him.
She will watch you for a little while before slowly setting you back down.
I must say, though, meeting another deity of dragons is quite amazing. My lady, I apologize if I insulted you in any way.
Don't call me that. It's just Aries.
Miss Aries, fine.
No, not Miss. Just Aries.
Very well, Aries. I'm sorry, it's just where I'm from, dragons are very scarce and few and far, and my kind are even rarer.
Well, I had to come and figure out why someone kept mentioning a different god. I thought it was another prank of a friend of mine.
I see. Well, again, I apologize for invoking you by mistake. Just know that all I do is my deity did give me a chance in life, and I praise his name for it. But to know a place like this exists with dragons that are plentiful it's quite beautiful, ma'am. You've done an excellent job.
They didn't used to be. But due to the interference of a annoying but helpful friend of mine, they now thrive. Which I am grateful. She isn't talking about Nilo in this instance. Because it was ultimately Obi's plan to go back in time.
We just followed through with it. Anyways. I see. Well, I don't know if you deities do any speaking amongst each other, but if you ever tend to meet my lord, I hope that it is in an amicable way.
Probably not. You're from a different realm.
Ah, I see. Well, I hope you do not take any offense if I slip up again, as
I wasn't offended. I just had to investigate, especially with how often it was happening.
It was I only said it like 2 or 3 times, I believe. I don't understand.
It doesn't matter. I figured out the situation. I don't care if you say it anymore. I just had to investigate.
Very well, Miss Aries. He had to stop himself twice.
She nods before looking down at her kid and the baby Bjorn and gently rubs his head.
Oh, I apologize. I should be keeping my voice down.
Oh, don't worry about it.
That is a lovely child, by the way.
His name is Achilles.
Hello, little Achilles. Achilles just kind of gives a warm, gentle smile.
The baby will begin gnawing on his own hand.
Nom, nom, nom.
Quite adorable.
I'm trying. I have to go. But, like I said, when someone was saying the name of a god that wasn't me, I had to come and see what the commotion was about. Mainly because I thought I was going to be suplexing somebody.
Understandable.
But seeing as it now I know it isn't who I thought it was, you're fine.
Achilles will give a slight head bow. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, Ares.
She gives you a blank
Until
stare.
next time.
She gives you a blank stare as you bow to her before she turns and begins walking toward the window.
She's thinking, this one's a strange one.
It's more, I really don't like being treated like that. She will then open the window before crouching and with a single jump disappears from sight.
Magnificent. Skills will then get off of poor Thorgrim and make himself comfortable on the sofa.
Thorgrim kind of just straightens himself up. Totally wasn't baby talking to baby.
Thorgrim, sorry, I didn't see you there.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't. Sitting on me the whole conversation. The nerve.
I apologize. I don't remember exactly what happened the last time I mentioned my deity. I just kind of blacked out and then I woke up there.
So what have we learned?
I don't know if I learned anything other than the name of the dragon deity of this realm.
What we learned was probably shouldn't mention the name specifically of your deity, otherwise you might fall unconscious again. Probably on me. Again.
Oh, that doesn't seem right. Goes to sleep. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
It's like Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets.
So, with that, the evening will come to an end, and I would need D100s.
D100s. To D100. Oh,
Julie
right in the middle of
and
the road.
Galodius.
Be Otto
How?
and George.
Welcome back, Jay.
How is there still a tie?
I've been here.
Where?
I tried to talk. I tried asking you what George and Otto were doing for the evening, and you just never replied to me.
Oh, I didn't hear that. That's my bad.
All right. So let's see. Scalodius and Beastie somehow tied. So I need you two to roll again.
Sorry, give me a moment.
No.
Sorry, pain is acting up right now.
Come on, 95. Remember back when we were doing D4s?
Yeah, sure do. So it looks like Jubilee and Adelsart Day will be waking up first, thanks to Jubilee's roll.
we wake up in the Hubert sandwich.
I guess.
Jubilee just kind of open her eyes and look around.
Do you see the same room that you fell asleep in, with Hubert laying awake but seeming up?
Morning, Hubert.
Hello.
Not sure if you slept well between us, but I'm hoping you were comfortable.
I was comfy.
Is Adel awake yet?
You would be.
Ayla's also... Yeah. Ayla's also lying there with her, just looking up at the ceiling.
Is everything alright?
Thinking.
What about?
She'll sit up a bit. Oh, lots of things.
That is
Well,
not very
maybe we can
descriptive.
discuss this. Maybe we can discuss it when we go clean up.
Yes.
If I know Cogsworth, he's probably has baths already drawn by now. It was say getting up and stretching.
And as you begin to stretch, there's a knock on the door.
Ah, right on cue. Come in.
Codsworth will then enter, bowing to you, Adelsarday, and says, "Good morning, Your Highness. I hope you rested well."
Ayla is quiet for a few minutes, but nods over to Codsworth. I did, thank you.
Wonderful. Is there anything I can get you this fine morning?
Can you run a bath, please?
You sure you want a bath and not a shower?
Yeah, a bath.
Of course. Would you like anything to eat?
Something with eggs.
Of course, of course.
Potato.
How would you like your eggs cooked? Scrambled, fried, poached?
Scrambled.
Of course, I could also make you an omelet with cheese, spinach, and various other greens within, if you would like that as well.
That sounds great.
Of course. He bows to you, and then looks to you, Jubilee.
An omelet sounds lovely for breakfast, and with some toast too, if possible.
What would you like?
Make
in your
mine a little
omelet?
more immediate. Some bacon if you can. Some cheese as well.
Of course. I have tried asking your friend there what he might like, but he always just simply stares at me.
Jubilee looks at Hubert. Hubert, play nice.
I am playing nice. I do not need anything from him.
He'll have a cup of coffee.
Kind of coffee.
The good
How
God.
do you take your coffee, Hubert?
Hubert will just look to you,
Not
Jubilee.
from him.
Will look to you, Jubilee, and say, "I can make my own coffee."
I understand. Cogsworth, can you please show Mr. Hubert here to the kitchen? He does have a tendency to prefer to make his own things.
Of course, but I can lead you all to the bathing area first, he says, and motions you all to follow.
Very well.
Adel, you will be led to a bathing room of your own. Jubilee will be led to a bathing room of her own, and there is already a nice hot bath waiting for you, Adelsarde. You're not sure how Codsworth has managed to pull this off.
Anna's going to smile to Codsworth and wait for him to leave before taking a bath. While she does, she's thinking, what the hell is a shower?
Codsworth did not follow you in, but as you are in the bath, you look up and you actually see a strange metal contraption close to the ceiling of the bathing area.
The heck is... Man, how... These Solarian contraptions still confuse me.
Somewhere else, Jubilee's just giggling to herself. I get to spoil Adelsarde and humor for once.
Alright, let's see. Who's next on the agenda? It
I think
is...
technically
Definitely
BC
not
was supposed to be first.
No, because Beastie rolled a 34, so she doesn't go yet. It was, in fact...
Right. Forgot those
No,
were
Beastie
reroll.
rolled a 95.
No, Beastie rolled a
was a
34.
reroll.
The 95 was a tiebreaker. And so I think the next person to go is Thorgrim. No, it's George. And or Otto, whoever rolled the 67.
It was George. Otto got too busy playing with his new toy.
Been up all night. Click. Clack.
Freezing.
Click. Clack. Click. Anyway, George, what are you doing?
He kind of just walks out and looks around, see if anyone else is awake.
I mean, you see the entourage of people standing at the staircase. As you come out of your room, one of them looks to you.
Morning.
Morning.
Then I'll just kind of walk over and sit down in the chair over here.
Says good morning, leaves, refuses to elaborate. Now it'll be Thorgrim waking up.
Thorgrim will wake up with the stereotypical like, and then slowly sits up and goes, "Huh? Forgot I was sitting in this. Huh? Best nap I've had in a while."
Thorgrim, as you say that and you begin stretching, you notice that the back of the chair is slowly going backwards as you press into it.
What? What? How do I stop? How do I stop it?
It stops eventually on its own.
Oh. Oh. Well, this is cool. Maybe just a few more. Maybe just a few more minutes. Puts his hands behind his head. He's just sitting in the recliner. I imagine Sabania doesn't have a lot of recliners.
Nope.
Oh.
Alright. If he's gonna be a few more minutes, that will lead us to Ophi.
Ophi's just gonna do the normal Ophi thing of get up, start zooming.
Okay,
Okay.
you zoom out and you feel a hand grab you by the scruff of your shirt and lift you off of your feet, which are in a running motion as Garmin looks to you and goes, "Are you up to no good, kid?"
No, I'm zooming.
Okay, well, I have to give you somebody who can zoom with you.
Okay.
Gotta make sure that we keep an eye on you. And as he says this, a cat person will walk over, rolling their shoulders, and you are set back down after a minute.
What does cat look like?
It's a calico cat. It's a calico tabaxi.
Is his name Jack? Can we call him Calico Jack?
Oh my
Or
god.
technically, you can call them Calico Jack, but calicos are only female.
Have
Jackie.
you never?
Jackie.
Yeah. Jack is usually short for something.
Jacqueline.
Sure, it's Calico
Actually,
Jackie.
you can
but-
call Lady Jack, actually.
It's Calico Jackie, but she shortened it to Jack just for you.
Jack with a Q.
Nah, Jack with a K.
Jack and Daxter?
Jack with an
Somebody
X.
got it.
This bit's gone really weird.
All right.
Yes.
So Ophi, are you
Yeah,
gonna go back to
just straight back to Zoom the second he's on the floor.
Okay. Surprisingly, the cat is keeping up with you.
Yeah, he's just gonna run around everywhere that he can.
You're mostly only allowed in hallways, so you're not gonna really get too terribly far. However, in one of the hallways, there is a large aquarium that has various fish swimming around within it.
Immediate hard stop like Roadrunner, then zoom into there.
Okay, so you enter, and it's a very large aquarium with various aquatic life swimming around within.
Is there a sharktopus?
Roll a d100.
Is he gonna get his fight?
There is
Oh.
not a sharktopus.
Imagine if the D100 was to decide how many there were. Okay, apparently my roll 20 reloaded itself.
Reloading.
Alright, so Ophi got distracted by the aquarium, which leads us to Skilodius waking up.
No, Beastie
No,
got
wait,
the 95
Beastie,
of the
sorry.
tiebreaker.
That's right, Beastie. Yeah, Beastie.
Beast,
And there's Tauntaun.
Beastie is
There you go.
going to.
Yeah, but Otto is currently burped, so we can't do him. So, going to Beastie.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Sorry. Beastie's going to awaken and then we'll start looking around for a kid. Excuse me. We'll start looking around for kids.
Well, you're fully aware that Ophi is probably running around somewhere. You're not sure where, but somewhere. And you see Sinclair currently doing, essentially Tai Chi as a morning relaxation technique.
Beastie will go over and, like, just poke her in the back with her foot.
She will open one eye and look at you.
Hello, Sinclair. And she's speaking in Goblin.
Mother, she replies in Goblin.
How have you been feeling?
I am well. Oh shit, I skipped LB. It's fine. Am well. You
Betrayal!
I'm not sure.
what's wrong?
That's the thing. Nothing is wrong. And I'm not used to it. Back home, I felt like at any moment, something bad could happen. But here, everything feels different.
Calm.
Sorry, what?
Calm.
She'll show her palm.
Alm. Talm. Alm.
Ah,
Peaceful.
yes. Yes. Calm. I've never felt anything like this. I am not used to it. And it's brighter here. And everyone's smiling more. But
Like it.
you like it?
Is refreshing.
I agree. But it's just so different. I don't know if I can get used to it.
We know stay.
Yes, Zardak will probably want us back soon. But I'm trying to figure out.
My god. Being in Solaria Beastie's learning how to use real words.
She's speaking in Goblin.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to figure out. Because this place is so different, but feels similar. Like I've been here before. Not here, but here. You know?
Oh, in a way.
My god, they were the goblins with the crab.
Oh, that's a throwback. What is that?
Literally episode 0.
Yeah, session 1 or session 0.
Session 0.
It's all a matter of perspective.
But what I want to know is, why is home so different to here if this feels the same?
Don't know.
Beastie shrugs his arm. I guess we won't know.
No way of knowing right now.
Yes. She will stretch. Anyway, I have to do morning prayers.
Be careful.
I will. I just need to find a tree.
We have limited access to building.
She thinks for a bit. Think they'd be mad if I punched a wall?
Do you half-ask?
She's going to look over to someone that she can ask.
Well, Garmin is in the hallway of your all's room, so you could probably ask him.
Garmin, do you have a strong tree?
He looks down at you and goes, "Why?
I need to conduct morning prayers.
What will you be doing in said prayers?
Hitting the tree.
Would you like to use a punching bag?"
She looks a bit horrified. I don't want a punch bag.
No, not the rabbit. He will lead you to a gym area where you see a cylinder hanging from the ceiling. It's about twice as tall as you are. As Garmin walks over to it and punches into it, you watch it begin swinging back and forth. And he goes, "Punching bag."
She looks to it and kicks it, and looks a bit shocked.
And as you kick it, there's quite a bit of resistance as well. Like you would have thought by looking at it, it would have been soft, but it's harder than a tree.
I want one.
We'll see.
Oh, she's going to take the rope and tie it around the bag, and will conduct her morning prayers of just repeatedly elbowing it. Again and again and again.
And we'll go back to the people that I skipped, with the first one being Elby.
Elvie will slowly get up from her slumber. She actually slept this time. And will wake up and look to her ring and say, "Good morning." And
I'm sorry, my headset wigged out. What'd you say?
yeah, she'll look to her ring and say, "Good morning,"
Hello.
and will exit the bed saying, "Are you ready to start the day?"
I suppose.
And she will carry out her morning prayers and spell acquisition in her room before exiting her room and going to the main, I'm assuming the main common area, and sitting next to George.
Then we'll go to Otto.
Alright. I was gonna wake up and kind of look outside with how bright it is and everything.
There's As you look outside, there are a couple of birds sitting on the windowsill just outside, preening their feathers. You see the city being already vibrant and awake, despite the fact that it's only been daylight for a few hours.
Huh. Well, kind of look it up for a little bit and start walking outside. And he'll look around, see the guards, and just say, "Were you guys there all night?"
No, we took shifts.
Oh. Okay. So, was there anything that's supposed to be planned for today, or are we just in here for now?
You'll have to ask Julie when she comes back, but she's busy at the moment. Breakfast will be brought to you all in the room your friends are in over there. He says, motioning behind you.
Oh. Wait, who's Julie?
The tiefling girl.
Oh, Jubilee?
Sure. They're not aware of her false name. But you're not aware that that's her false name. So.
Lol.
Oh, okay. We'll also head over to the dining room area.
Okay. Then we will go to Scalodius, because Tauntaun rolled a 4.
Gilius will get up and begin his morning prayers.
As you wake
Keeping
up,
an eye open to make sure.
As you wake up, you see Thorgrim somehow laying horizontal in a chair.
Gilius looks at him, then looks at the back of the sofa. I wonder. Whoop.
You push onto the back of the sofa.
Yep.
It does in fact lean back.
Oh.
Two old men finding out about recliners. Immediately goes back to sleep.
Two old men.
I was gonna say repeat what Thorgrim did, basically.
Two old men were discovering recliners for the first time.
Yep.
And that leads us to Tauntaun.
Well, I mean, Tauntaun was under a desk with a bunch of magazines and books. And I'm assuming Patterson's the reason he's waking up.
Sure.
Because it was a whole S4.
Hello.
What do you do, Patterson?
Bonjour.
Tauntaun's eyes are gonna open just like, what?
Hello.
Did you just say hello in another language?
Hello.
What? What
Hola.
did you just say? Where did you learn these?
¿Cómo está?
That's not an answer.
Estoy bien, gracias. ¿Y tú?
I have to deal with this at work. Don't make me deal with it in fantasy. My coworkers keep trying to teach me Spanish and German and Russian.
Don't worry, I don't know how to speak another language. I just know how to say what I said.
That's all they tell me!
Do it.
Los dos.
Patterson will continue watching you.
What time is it, Patterson?
Patterson will look at you, look at his wrist, and then look back at you. He does not have a watch.
I'm sure there's a clock in here somewhere. Or just the window.
Roll perception.
Perceive. Why do I have to perceive?
To see if you can find a clock.
These sheets take so long. Here we go. Perceive. I see lines.
It's about 8:30. Hello?
Hello, Patterson.
Hello.
Well, time to get with it. Tauntaun's gonna make sure that he looks like Tauntaun, and then he's gonna get out from under the desk
Okay.
and start putting the magazines and books back.
Alright.
Hopefully where he found them before, but who knows?
It also doesn't take you too terribly long to figure out where your friends are.
Wait, which set of friends? The old men in recliners or the people awake?
The awake ones and the old men in recliners, but you'll come across the old men in recliners first.
How asleep are they?
Apparently, Thorgrim is very.
Must draw cat face.
Roll sleight of hand. Thorgrim, you roll perception.
Hang on.
I did not do very good.
You could do worse.
I did not do worse. I grab his wrist. Don't
Yeah, for someone that
Draw.
was snoring,
on face.
who said it was on your face?
Slowly guide his wrist away.
How asleep is Scalodius? Chaos.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
How asleep
How-
is
what?
Scalodius? Why does it sound like he's living?
Snores.
Alright, so same rules as before. If you want to try and draw on his face, you roll sleight of hand versus his perception.
Ever snore so hard you sound like a muscle car?
I know,
Oh, yeah.
right?
I mean, Dragonborn. And you said perception?
Yep.
Damn it.
Well, he doesn't seem to perceive you.
Cat face. Whole ass calico cat face. My work here is done. Come along, Patterson!
Boy.
Imagine if he just said goodbye, I'm Patterson in like a different language as he left.
I don't know that much. I don't know that much Spanish, so I can't do that.
Sayonara, watashi wa Patterson.
That's some weird Spanish you're speaking.
It's flowery Spanish.
It's distant Spanish from Asia.
It's distant. It's distant Spanish from that other Spanish country.
Gaijin dakara,
Sweden.
Nihongo wa karimasen. Sumimasen.
So
Fucking otaku.
eventually,
Fucking
Ophi,
moon speak.
eventually, Ophi and Beastie, you will be led to the room, and everyone else will go to the room after they bathe.
Did Beastie get a punching bag or?
They're working on it.
Alright.
What are the
Beastie.
chances Ophi may have ended up inside of the aquarium trying to fight something?
Very slim because there are guards that would not let you in.
You say slim, but that doesn't mean it's 0.
It's slim enough for me to not allow a roll for it.
Okay.
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 So, as you are all sitting at the table, Codsworth will appear carrying trays with other help carrying trays as well, as they set out a good selection of breakfast foods, with Adel, Sarday, and Jubilee both getting omelets as ordered.
Is there any fish?
There is fish.
Ophie's immediately going to attack the fish.
There is fried fish, grilled fish. There is shrimp.
Is there whole fish?
There is not a whole raw fish, no.
Well, I wasn't saying raw, but like a whole cooked fish.
No, it's fish fillets.
Oh.
Easily
Well, he's still going to attack it all with his mouth.
yeah, easily recognizable as fish, but no, there is not a just whole dead-ass fish.
Dead ass.
Dead ass fish.
That's not just a fish. That's a dead ass fish.
That swears to God they didn't go bass to trout.
Dead bass fish.
What is wrong with us?
Tauntaun's just gonna get the big breakfast type meal.
So, everybody, how are you enjoying my home?
Well, the books are interesting. Plenty of trivia, catching up on local events. Seeing what
Catching
the
up
new
on
fashion
local
trends
events.
are.
That's a well. It's a good thing you bring that up because that might be a subject of what we need to do today.
I was just gonna stick around in that library some more.
You can if you want, but we need to do some research on the rival family right now. Hear what the goings on around town is going on. Get a feel for things.
Tauntaun isn't aware of the rival family, I think.
That's the one they're trying to marry into, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was talked about at dinner.
My mistake. I thought you
Yes,
weren't paying
okay.
attention.
I threw the family name on the line.
I
That's a
apologize.
whole different Tauntaun.
I apologize. I did not respect your game.
That is noble Tauntaun. That's a whole different beast from everyday Tauntaun. There's also party
Anyways,
Tauntaun, high Tauntaun, drunk Tauntaun, sleep deprived Tauntaun.
Tauntaun, I'd like to get back to the focus of the mission at hand.
Ah, right, yeah.
In any case, I unfortunately can't go out immediately, otherwise I might cause them to clam up a bit, as it'd be suspicious if I was anywhere near any of them. So I need you guys to kind of be my ears and eyes for a little bit and try and get a feel of what the rival family's up to.
Isn't
What
the saying
precisely will
normally
be
eyes and
required?
ears?
Try not to engage any of them, but try to, like, for you, Thorgrim, easily just head to the nearest
Thorgrim
dive bar
is-
and try to get.
That was LV.
Oh,
Thorgrim
right.
is not here.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Thorgrim is
My bad.
napping in a recliner.
He's old Manning.
Well,
Beastie is
Well,
going
again,
to get
well-
up and go fetch him. She's gonna
fetch
get
the two old men.
Yes.
5 minutes later, we hear laughing goblin noises.
She's just gonna pick them both up with one hand and just carry them in.
Don't forget, Scalodius has calico cat face.
Bruh.
Right. So for
Hey,
simplicity's
where'd they
sake,
go? Oh, there
they're
they are.
brought in.
Wait, where'd they go?
Look, man, I'm very tired. Give me a break.
Should have noticed you were gone too.
I live in the shop.
Anyways. So we'll probably send our more rougher types to a dive bar because that's most likely where they hang out and converse. Try to eavesdrop on some conversations. Well, most of us who look like tourists should try walking around town and try picking up on vibes and any doings that are happening. With, of course, some security following from a distance. as I'm assuming one is already probably listening in.
And I
I'll take Jack.
I went around town yesterday.
Yeah, just
Otto
do
kinda
what you
said.
normally.
Look at what
Again.
you did. You made Otto sad.
I'm sorry, Otto.
Wait, what?
Again, you can. What? Did I misread something?
No.
I'm just gonna reset that conversation. I'm just gonna reset that bit.
Yeah, I don't
So,
think there's anything out of the ordinary when I was walking around yesterday.
yeah, well. Again, there's two rival mafia families that are just on the verge of going into full-on war. So,
What's up,
you
mafia?
probably were looking.
A group of people that does highly illegal things, but somehow manages to spin it to be legal here and there.
These
Is
two,
the bad guys?
these two all look,
Not entirely.
am I not? Yes, bad guys in suits, but fancy and eat
Again.
weird food.
Otto then
Spaghetti?
Otto then turn and point to the guy over here. Does that mean he's a bad guy?
I'm just a butler.
No, Otto.
Okay.
I am a butler, my dear friend.
I wouldn't be surprised if you were also an assassin.
A what?
A butler.
What's that?
It is
A buttle.
It is a person who is hired to ensure that certain people get what they request when they request it. I am essentially a helper around the house.
I thought that what you sit on.
No, that's a butt.
Oh,
He buttholes.
Think of it more like a servant that's hired rather than forced.
Like Hubert.
We don't use that bad word here. I am not a servant. I can quit my job anytime I want to.
Right. Sorry.
Can't
Sorry, Counselor.
servants?
It's just really hard to explain these things. Any case.
Okay.
Think of me as an assistant that gets paid to do what I do.
Ah, like my boys.
Yes. There you go.
Similar idea, yes.
Oh. Okay.
But anyways, no, Otto, they're not technically entirely evil.
But you just said that they do illegal things.
Yes, more often than not, it's an illegal thing that needs to get done in order for something good to happen. This is the world of politics. Things are confusing and never as they seem.
Yeah. Not
If we
too
don't
far off
start
the truth.
shooting at it, everything's fine.
These politics sound really dumb.
They are dumb. Unfortunately, it's where some of us.
Anything I
were
try to get
raised.
out of it.
all it's-
Anyways.
I mean, it's better than the drow politics. Apparently, that's just matricide.
Adol is just going to shoot a glare at Tauntaun.
What?
As is Jubilee.
What?
You
From
should
what I
talk
picked
to-
up, you guys just kill each other all the time.
She huffs but doesn't say anything because he's kind of right.
God damn it. I don't like it, but you're right.
In any case, take in the sights of the city and try to each select a different area to do a quick scan of, I guess is the best way I could put it.
Right.
Try to find guys who are trying to provoke people more than anything. Seems to be a common thread.
Right. Does that mean that I have to be a damsel in distress, or am I just like free to just punch a bitch?
If you need to defend yourself, you can defend yourself, but as far as they're aware, you're just a bystander. Unless you're in direct contact, don't engage.
Got it. Got it.
You're just supposed to listen and look.
So I'm gonna need a normal face.
Maybe I should speak to the leader here.
That might be a good idea, considering you can go under the guise of a different faction, I guess, as it were.
Well, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to be using tricks or lying to him. That would be a bad idea.
True, but you can at least come in at a different angle. Just try to avoid certain answers if you can. Like you're doing this under different circumstances. You're not doing it as affiliated with the Ackerman family.
I mean, if you like, I could also.
You don't have to lie to them. You just go under as your own interests, which is not a lie. It's actually what we're doing.
And I do also genuinely have interest in this place, so.
Very well, George. You and I can go see the leader together. I was actually going to want to meet him at some point, under very different circumstances.
Wait, what leader?
Broxton, the leader of Solaria.
Oh.
Yeah, you might want to brace yourself for that one.
He never accepted my party invites.
Well, that could be. I don't know why, but it seems like there might have been a slight. Okay, DM, if I'm remembering this correctly, there was a slight change in the guard, as it were.
Yes. Broxton's son, Broxton, took over.
Yeah, so
Broxton.
it's apparently the original leader is retired now, and the son took over. Broxton Jr. is now in charge.
Ah, maybe that's why they never came. Didn't send it to the right Broxton.
Yes, I am aware that they keep calling themselves Broxton ever since the original Broxton.
Yeah, it's a whole family
that
lineage
like
thing, but
30
just
of them.
keep that in mind because he may not. Keep that in mind because he may not act the same way as his father did, or he could, for all I know. It's kind of an X factor that's in the mix right now.
I'll be wary.
Right.
Hail.
Ophi,
X
you
Factor
probably
is
want
how
to
I make
investigate the
claims
dock area. As long as you take some people to protect you, Ophi, the dock area might be best for you. You could probably go fishing in, hear some rumors from the fishermen. Maybe even catch some smuggling operations.
I was just gonna take the cat lady named Jack.
Are you going to make her an NPC?
Yes.
God damn it.
God damn it. You
Well, at
He
least I
has
know you'll
made
have a
Zumi
bodyguard
friend.
then.
He has made Zumi friend.
Again, whatever bodyguards you assign, make sure they are hidden. Because we don't want them being provoked as well.
So lose the tail.
Then it becomes a whole... Don't lose the tail. Make sure tail is not seen. Again, we don't want to be trying to deceive any Ackerman family members, because we're actually trying to help them.
I mean...
We just want to make sure... Tauntaun, this is a family thing for me. Please don't end this one.
Fine, can I at least dress them up?
You'll have to talk to whatever guard you're assigned. You can't really tell them what to do, but you can suggest it politely.
Look, if I'm meeting lazy, bored housewives, gotta look the part.
Like I'm saying, all I'm saying is, I hope you prefer to have limbs.
Limbs are
Piss off
overrated.
the wrong one, But anyways, unfortunately, all I can really do is watch and gather what intel I can from here for now. When I hit the street, things are definitely going to be a lot more active.
Cool.
Yeah. If they're a lot more active, that means they're a lot more tight-lipped.
What are the chances of Patterson being able to go about the city all by himself?
Slim.
the skeleton in this city
Slim.
full of tech.
I mean,
All right, Patterson, I guess you're staying with Jubilee.
So,
yeah, unfortunately, magic's not too well seen here.
Another reason why I don't like this place.
Yeah, how do you think I feel?
Hey, that's on you.
No, it's really her fault.
Not like I had a.
It's more.
Don't get me wrong.
Like I had a choice.
It's better than having to give blood to all of my guests. But still.
It's more the fault of the Darish. According to legends, they're the ones that subjugated the Solarian people, mainly because of their inability to use magic, which is why magic is such a sore subject here.
Yeah. And unfortunately, some grudges just don't go away for some people.
Well, I mean, once all of the old people are dead, it should be fine.
That's a very reductionist way of looking at it.
Well, I mean, that's usually when the greatest change happens. All of the people that know the original grudge, pass off.
And who do you think the younger people learnt it from?
Yeah, but you go through enough generations, usually about 2 or 3, it starts to go a bit muddy.
Fair enough. But back to what Ghibli was originally saying. Seems like we have a mission to do.
What's this thing on the table in front of Jubilee?
Right.
That's
Jubilee.
Bertie. My pet spider.
roll perception check, Tauntaun.
Oh no, what am I trying to perceive?
Is he gonna see it? Are we?
Oh.
So Tauntaun, said little spider actually has a staff on its back as well as a miniature backpack.
Oh. We have a spy.
I'm going to try and telepathically talk to Spider.
What do you say?
Are you a wizard? Or a druid? Or a sorcerer?
I am Mage Spider.
Aww, that is so cute.
And as it says Mage Spider, it will lift up its 2 front legs and do a magic rainbow between them.
What the hell?
Imagination.
He's then going to turn to Edel Sarday and just go, I approve.
I will protect this spider with my life.
You'd better. That's a mage.
Jubilee just looks at Hubert in the corner.
Hubert's just
Might save
not-
you some trouble.
Hubert's just nonchalantly watching.
Adel looks to Tauntaun and then lifts up Birdie. You're a mage?
It will tap on your fingers, but you don't understand.
Yeah, you forgot that I can talk to anything with a language, didn't you?
I am going to learn how to speak spider. And she gets up. Ricky!
Is that what it speaks?
And then she's gonna start walking off. Like,
Does
the
Ricky
original...
know Spider?
The
He might
prim,
know speak with animal.
the prim and proper focused Adel is just gone now that she has a tiny mage spider. And she's going off to find Ricky.
I must find the small dragonborn so I can learn how to speak Spider.
She's taking Birdie
Jubilee
with her.
just watches that her take off like,
You know, if I,
I
knew
like
that
this.
all it would take
I like
to
this a
make
lot.
Edel Sarday this easy to deal with was a spider, I'd have bought her one.
I don't think it's the same.
Should I follow? I thought we had a plan, says George.
I think your plan just went out the
George,
window,
you might want to
bud.
keep him back on track, so go for it.
She's up there
Yeah,
trying to learn
alright.
Spider from a dragon.
Alright.
George will.
And
Oh
if,
god, that reminds me of
after.
spider dragons.
Hey, don't mention spider dragons.
Why not?
Because of reasons.
Do you have them?
Reasons
Spider
you don't
dragon,
need to worry
spider
about.
dragon does whatever a spider dragon does. Spins a web.
oh, but this is just the
Barbecue.
embodiment of the dog-headed artificer from Life of Artificer, I feel at this point.
Remember, it's not about if you can, it's about why not. God, I love that guy.
Yeah, same.
He's great.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go zoom off now to the docks.
Good luck, Ophi.
Beastie will follow after him.
He's gonna shoot finger guns at the cat and then just start zooming.
You will immediately follow.
Well, let's at least get on the stairs, not other side of the stairs. I can't walk on air yet.
Well, again, the rest of you just go accordingly, I suppose, and I'll see what I can do from here.
So,
Okay.
both
The
in
other
and
side
out
of
of
the
character. Both in and out of character. I'm gonna need you to explain the whole plan again, because that conversation went into so many different directions. I kind of lost track of what was going on.
We're getting
Basically,
information.
Jubilee is just saying to go around, gather information, try not to engage the rival family members. And
Gather
she even
information,
suggested,
but like, what you say, gather information, but I mean, like, who do we look for? Where do we go? Why do
I was just about to get
Just
to that.
hit your local rumor mills.
I was gonna say for Thorgrim, she would suggest a dive bar tavern and more of a seedy place because you're a tough-looking guy, and
Okay.
just kind of try to eavesdrop on any of the gang members, kind of get a feel for how they're operating.
Maybe
So
get
am I
into a bar
looking for
brawl.
am I looking for guys in pinstripe suits or?
You're looking for mooks.
There's
DM, I believe Jubilee would know
there's no
the garb
specific
of the.
there's no specific dress code for them.
But you know
Damn
the way you presented the Ackerman goon so far, they're all guys with like your stereotypical
That's because
fedoras and pinstripes.
Yes,
the
but the
Ackermans are
Ackermans,
business.
the Ackermans actually have a dress code.
Oh,
The rest of them are rough and tumble.
I was
Got
gonna
it.
say, if you find a trial that's not one of ours, you're probably on the right track.
Wow,
Got it.
racist.
Am I wrong?
Yes, you absolutely are.
Okay, DM. What indicator would I know to distinguish the other mafia from our family members?
They have a tattoo on their right forearm.
But what if the forearm's covered?
what
Exactly.
kind of tattoo?
Roll a
I think
history
they're
for
supposed to
them.
just be hard to find.
All right. Rolling history.
This town has a library.
Almost rolled
right?
it on the wrong character.
Yes, this town would have a library.
Cool. LV, you want to go to the library with me?
Of course.
Cool. Cool.
I feel as if my talents will be more useful there.
Probably will. I'll drop you off at the library and then we'll go. Or, well, I'll go somewhere else.
Jubilee, you know that the tattoos would be similar to the ones that Darius has. Not quite as extravagant as the ones Darius has, but similar.
So you remember the other trial that was at dinner last night and the tattoo he had?
Yeah, your supposed
Yeah, the
arranged
fiance. Yeah,
marriage
I know.
husband? Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. So look for something similar to his on the right forearm.
Got it. And
This is
just
a little
go-
more slashy, but they should have something similar.
Just look for a right forearm tattoo, and those are your mafia guys you want me to spy on,
Yeah,
right?
and again, don't engage them. Just pick a table nearby and have a drink and listen and just eavesdrop if you can. That's all.
Got it.
You're not to engage unless they engage you first.
Nope.
Bar brawl.
Only defense.
Beat their
Exactly.
ass, Thorgrim. Bar brawl.
And what would you ask of me in terms of research?
If you're going to the library, try to see if any. But I'm pretty sure the librarian would know if any mafia members were doing research. Let's try to see if they were doing any other occult research or something. I don't know. It's a stretch, but with all the stuff that's going on, could be a weird angle to approach.
Indeed. And I am to inquire as to the same people that Thorgrim is looking for, correct?
Correct. That's what we're all doing.
Indeed.
And just in different angles.
It shall be done.
Yeah, because if they are up to something and they're not done, a lot of them are not done by any stretch of the imagination. So for all I know, one of them could be researching something sinister, and that could provide a lead.
Any crime family should have some sort of intelligence gathering, otherwise they will not survive.
Otto, since you went out yesterday, and if you don't feel comfortable, you can just stay with me today if you'd like. No idea if Jay's even here.
Jay, are you here? Gonna take that as a no.
JPV?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, what's up?
You're being spoken to.
Who's speaking to who?
Jubilee.
Jubilee said if Otto didn't feel comfortable going out and doing the research too, that he could hang with Jubilee here at the house until everyone gets back.
I don't mind going out into the city again. I enjoyed looking at everything.
All right, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you were comfortable with doing this is all.
I got this box with the switch that when I hit it, a rabbit hits the switch.
Adorable.
Yeah,
but yeah, if you do go out, remember right forearm tattoo with the similar design that I described to Thorgrim.
Oh.
If you see any of those gentlemen, though, they're of the other mafia, and try not to engage them if you can.
Okay.
Those would be from the bad family.
Wait, so what's your family?
Trying to find out what the bad...
Wait, so who's your family?
I mean, I'm technically part of this family. My mom's the boss here.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, remember the scary lady at dinner?
Kind of. I don't think.
Yeah, that's my mom. She can be when she's angry.
Well, then just don't make her angry, and then he'll just start walking out.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Just don't make her angry, forehead.
It's Otto's logic. I'm too nice to make people angry, so I just don't make them angry.
Julie just watches him leave and is like, he's so adorable, but I worry for his safety. Then I shall go accompany Mr. Otto, Elodius will say, and head off. Alright, so you three, you guys gonna be fine? Getting no responses from either of them.
Wait, who is he talking to?
Just the three of you that are left, Tauntaun, Elvie, and Thorgrim. And you guys gonna be fine?
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
just blended together. What's going on?
Basically, we're breaking off to go do the things.
Right. Okay, so gather at front.
Again, I'll be here trying to do my own research.
Alright. Well, I'll let you know if things happen. I'll try not to kill them.
And again,
Go for it.
You will have a tale from this family. Just make sure to consult with them that they are hidden well.
Got it.
You should not leave their sight.
Got it.
I know, sounds weird, but for one, I want my mom to actually trust me again, and two, I want to make sure you guys are safe.
I won't run off, don't worry.
Where you're going, I have every reason to be worried.
LV will get up, bow to Jubilee, and just say, "It will be done." And if the dwarf runs off, I will make sure to keep an eye on him.
Elvie, you're going to a library.
Thank you.
He's going to a seedy bar.
Yeah.
I
Whole
feel
different
that,
parts of town.
I feel that he can cover a great distance, and I will be able to see him anyway. He has a habit of running in different directions.
He really
Honestly,
does.
I would assume he could find a bar based on the smell.
You assume a lot of things, Tauntaun.
I mean,
Alright.
it's how he's found every other bar. No, why are you
And
doing
after-
selections?
Oh, I was gonna say, after the last person leaves, Jubilee will turn to Cogsworth. Cogsworth,
Yes.
if you can you provide me some recent news articles or anything regarding any recent crime activity of the opposing family?
I will try. And we can call
Thank
it
you.
here, since the plan is set up, and rolls will need to be made to initiate it.
Jubilee just interlocks fingers and puts chin on him as she sits alone at the head of the table.
As the sun begins to set, despite it only being 8:30 in the morning.
Hello. And she sits alone with Patterson, who didn't go with Tauntaun.
Hello.
Patterson just standing behind her. That's a good
Jubilee.
silhouette shot.
Jubilee interlocks fingers. Patterson slowly pokes cheek.
As it fades to black, stop that. Stop it. Addison.
If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you stick around to see more of what I'm making. Be seeing ya.